You damn right. Hope everybody's having a good Monday. Hope things are getting back to normal for you. But for those of you that still have no power and are still working through it, we are thinking about you today. We are also thinking about all those people dealing with the tree branches and the limbs and the cars that have been hit and the houses that have been hit, all the electricians out there, people working for the electric companies, people trying to get the power back on. We are certainly thinking of you today on this Monday. It's also the beginning of Super Bowl week, and the Longhorns have a big Monday affair at the Phog tonight. Plus, we have some big deals going down in the Dallas area we've got to talk about. It's Chad and Zay on this Monday. I'm Chad Hastings, joined as always by Isaiah Collier. What's up, Zay?
Chad, what's good, Mavs fan? Y'all are back.
Man.
Better than ever.
Not sure how to feel. I need you to help me. I need you to help me.
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Oh, got to figure out how to process this information. We have a lot of stuff for you today. Coming up at 12:30, Zay's going to dig into that Texas basketball team. A huge comeback victory at the Octagon of Doom gets them no worse than a split in that crazy 4-game stretch we were talking about. Can they make it 3-1 with a win at Kansas tonight? Zay will dig into that coming up at 12:30. We've got our normal visit with Joe Cook of Inside Texas at 1:05. We'll get you the flex segment later. Coming up in the crap bag, we'll talk about the NFL Pro Bowl games. Did you watch? Did you like it? Were you entertained? Do you think this is going to continue in the future? But Zay, I think we do need to start in Big D. It's rare that the Dallas Cowboys could name a major member of their coaching staff and be the second biggest story in Dallas. But that's what happened. Because yesterday, it was as I'm watching the Pro Bowl stuff is where I first saw it. That Kyrie Irving, we told you late last week that Kyrie Irving, Zay broke the story right here. Well, Zay didn't break it. Zay broke it for all of you when he saw it from the Woj bomb that Kyrie Irving had requested a trade. We're thinking, oh, Lord, here we go. And they had to figure this out by what, this Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday's the deadline.
Is that what it was? So then I see it flash across the screen, and I swear I paused it to read it 3 times. When I saw Kyrie Irving, Nets agree to trade Kyrie Irving to and I thought I was going to see any other word but Mavericks. And I saw, does that say Mavericks? Oh, my God. So Kyrie Irving is going to be a Dallas Maverick. Before I react, Zay, as a fan, give me your basketball expert thoughts here, all sides of it. What do you tell us Mavs fans today?
It's going to be a fun 3 months. And after that, who knows? Because it's going to be a trial run. You know, they have the ability to sign him for a long-term deal because he'll be a free agent this summer. So it depends on how him and Luka mesh together and how they look in the playoffs, which will determine if Mark Cuban's going to be willing to sign him or not. I mean, if you're Kyrie Irving, you're looking for a long-time deal because he himself knows that he could be a loose cannon and he could just leave at any time. So he's going to want some guaranteed money. He's going to want some money for years to come. If you're any owner in the NBA, hell no. With your track record, Kyrie, we can't do that.
And that's what the Nets were, right? The Nets just basically said no to a long-term deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like, you're just too much of a loose cannon. You're not getting any younger. You're now entering your 30s. So you've been injury prone kind of throughout your career. You've wanted out of 3 different franchises. You didn't want to play with LeBron James. Like that's insane. I get wanting to play with Kevin Durant. You don't want to play with LeBron James. You're too prideful to play with LeBron just because people in media who are stupid are asking you questions like, is LeBron like a father figure to you? And Kyrie, being as egotistical he is, he loses it when stuff like that said, because he's very close with his dad. You know, his mom passed away real young, so he's like, I only have one father. So after that moment for me, it was like, he started looking at LeBron different. LeBron started saying some weird things, like calling them kid and stuff. Don't call him kid.
Yeah,
I want to hand the kid the keys. And like Kyrie's like, I ain't no kid, dog. I'm a grown-ass man.
They won a title together.
Yeah.
Kyrie hit the biggest shot in the series, and they still couldn't get along.
Yeah. I can do this without you. Goes to the Celtics. completely disrespects their franchise. Like, this is the Boston Celtics, Red Auerbach, Larry Bird, all the titles, Bill Russell, etc. Completely disrespects the franchise, tells them that he's going to stay. I'm going to sign a long-term contract with some weird little ceremony thing that they had at the Garden at the time, and then leaves that. Doesn't like that situation. Like, Jason, think about him right now with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, with how good that they've got. They be winning titles. So you don't want to play with LeBron. Then you don't want to play with two of the best players in the league right now who are dominating the East, like sitting at first. Why you don't want to play with these guys? You don't see the talent in them? Okay, fine. Go to Brooklyn. Play with Kevin Durant now. You're tired of playing with KD. You can't play with James Harden. With James Harden, say what you want about him. When he's healthy and clicking, he's pretty damn good. One of the 75 players of all time got put in there last year. Kyrie, you didn't make that list. So your ego's getting in the way of this. Now Ben Simmons comes along. I kind of get why you don't want to play with Ben Simmons. I get that. It's tough probably coming in and watching Ben Simmons, air quotes, work on his game and then not put that on the court. And Kyrie, he's a basketball savant. I know he's a little nuts, but he does love the game, and he works on it to the T, as skilled as any point guard we've seen come into the league. So he's looking at Ben Simmons not work on this game. He goes home and looks at his phone, sees Ben Simmons walking down Times Square with some type of big-time celebrity chick. Big-time celebrity superstar. I don't even know her name. That's Ben Simmons, though. He's going to be with a top-tier girl. He ain't going to be with no, high school sweetheart or maybe a girl that he met in Baton Rouge. Nah, that ain't Ben Simmons. He going to be with women like Kendall Jenner or, Emily Rodrakowski, whatever her name is. He going to be with those type of women.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not working on your game, yet you doing this. And yet you could be one of the best players in the league if you did work on your game like KD and I. That's just Kyrie. He can't take it. He just can't. He can't take that stuff. So now with this Dallas Mavericks situation, offensively, they're going to be great. But you can't hide Luka and him. When you play with LeBron did a lot on defense where Kyrie, he's not the best defender. He plays hard, but he can get exposed in the playoffs depending on the matchup. So can Luka. The good thing is offensively, you can get the ball out of Luka's hands and Luka could go post up and stuff and, tug on his shorts and let Kyrie go get buckets and you could play them. One of them's going to be in the game at all times. And then they can play together. So Jason Kidd's going to have to, feel those minutes out, but again, Kyrie could go AWOL any minute. You just never know.
It certainly could help them address the Luka fatigue issue. That's what you hope on the offensive end. By the way, if you missed the full deal, Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris come to the Mavs. Little bit of
he'll do some dirty stuff. That's what you need.
Still some low post presence there.
He'll hit some threes, and then if you come across the lane, he'll elbow you in your jaw, and you need that sometimes.
And the Mavs need physicality.
They need that
at times. Yeah,
he ain't no punk.
Going the other way, Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, a first and 2 second-round picks ultimately go to Brooklyn. What do you tell Mavs fans about losing Finney-Smith and Dinwiddie? Anything to worry about? Be concerned about?
I mean, you weren't going to get it done with those guys. You weren't. So this making a move, it's cool and all. Is this the right move? I don't think so, just because Kyrie, you just can't rely on Kyrie Irving.
Right.
You cannot do that. But he is better than Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie, along with, if you have Christian Wood and Luka there, I'd take Kyrie over all those guys. We don't know what the 2029 pick's going to be. That kid's in the 7th grade right now. Like, we know that kid's now.
There's no need for you to do the math. There's no need to do math.
That kid right now ain't listening to his teacher, eating hot Cheetos in class, about to skip it. Could probably dunk, though.
Yeah.
That's where that kid is. So, you can't look at it until that happens. But, yeah, man, it's fun. Like you said, this is what you love about the NBA. This is what I love about the NBA. Mavs tickets, everybody's that's going to be a hot ticket in the D.
Can you imagine those games, just the show of it all? It's going to be incredible. So now instead of Luka having to produce like a 50-point triple-double, it's going to have to be those two guys probably need to produce, 60, 65 a night, for sure?
Damn.
Like, is it that much?
I mean, yeah.
What do they need to give you?
That yeah, 65 a night. Because they gonna give up. They could give up 70 for that 65. They could give up 70.
And what is Jason Kidd thinking today? He's the guy who gave the big speech not long ago about, yeah, Luka's Luka, and we're gonna score like 120, 130, but we're gonna give up 150 some nights. Did you see how we played defense? We just, my God, they shot whoever they were that night. Was it Sacramento? Somebody shot like 52% from the floor.
Yeah, don't sleep on Sacramento. Sacramento's nice this year.
Yeah, I think it was the Kings that shot 52, 53% against them, 57%, whatever it was.
It's gonna be weird to see Luka playing off the ball because we never seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't played off the ball really since playing overseas with Slovenia and playing with Goran Dragic. Like that's the last time I seen him play off the ball. Because Goran Dragic was so good, you know, when Luka was just 18. Goran Dragic was I don't want to say he's the best player, but he was the guy you gave the ball to at the end of the game because he was still in that, you know, borderline all-star mode. And, you know, Luka did a good job playing off the ball then, but the NBA game's different than the overseas game. How will he and Kyrie mesh that way? Like, that's where I'm saying, like, if I'm Jason Kidd, Luka, you're in the post a lot. You're in the, because no one can stop you in the post.
Yeah, so you're going
nobody.
So you're going to have Kyrie kind of on the outside and doing his thing, but then at times getting the ball into Luka to let him work on mismatches.
Yeah, just let him work on mismatch because you're going to have to double or he's just going to dominate in the post. He's too crafty, he's too big, too strong, too quick. You're going to have to double. And Kyrie, we know he can play off the ball. He played with LeBron James. So, you know, he can play off the ball, and he's a good enough shooter outside on catch and shoots. He's good enough shooter, you know, off of closeouts, you know, one dribble pull-ups and stuff. Kyrie, he's elite when it comes offensively, but it's just the off the court stuff. Like I just said all the stuff about Ben Simmons, like Kyrie, Mark Cuban's probably shaking in his, you know, Louis Vuittons right now. Like it's one of those things. He's just somebody on Specs Text. I said, Kyrie's a cancer. It's hard to argue that.
Right.
It is. Like 3 different places that he's been to, he's wanted out at.
Yeah, there's a lot of thoughts coming in, as you can imagine, on the Specs text line 337-3776. If you want to jump in, this says it won't work. Luka and Kyrie, both ball-dominant players. Kyrie will get frustrated and leave. Someone says, I can't root for a team with Kyrie Irving, and then they threw in the thing, you know, the anti-Semitic thing. Kyrie is a cancer in a locker room. Kyrie is a cancer in every locker room. I expect the same here. And then, what does this say? Does Dallas have a vacation mandate? I don't know. I have no idea. This says, this is one time we get a superstar to come on over. It's Kyrie. Making myself be glass half full. He needs a contract. Says and this one says Mark Cuban's out here doing his best Jerry Jones impersonation up in Dallas.
But he, you know, he needs a contract, and the key word on that sentence there, superstar. I don't think he's a superstar, but he's pretty damn close.
Yeah, he is.
There's only about maybe 10, if that. He's pretty damn close.
Yeah, and this is the thing that I thought they had in Cleveland for that brief time. If you can get him locked into the idea of being a badass 2 until the 1 retires, and then he can become the 1, he'd be one of the best we've ever seen. It's just like you said, his mindset won't allow it to happen. Heck, Kobe's mindset didn't allow that to happen exactly. That's not how Kobe probably thought of it back in the day.
Kobe, you're right. Kobe did have that moment.
He had a tough time trying to figure all that out, but eventually he did it.
Yeah, Kobe was lucky that Shaq was kind of at the end. Like Kobe was around 23 with 3 rings. Shaq was around about to hit the 30s. Kobe was looking at the Bus family like, what y'all gonna do?
Yeah.
Y'all gonna have to keep one of us. This guy ain't working on his game. He out here cheating. His wife about to start basketball wives soon. I don't need that in my life. I'm out here. I know I have my issue in Colorado and stuff, but that only made me stronger on the court. So what y'all gonna do? And that's Kobe. Kobe Bryant. And Kyrie Irving, which him and Kobe were very close. He does have that, like, you ain't Kobe, dog. You ain't. You just aren't. And you're right, Chad. If he just accepts that 2 role, like he didn't accept it with LeBron, so he had to go to Boston and show his stuff, but then he realized, oh man, these Boston fans, they aren't too nice to me when things go wrong. Especially they're not. And they different. Those people are
Oh, yeah, no,
different.
there's
And they
another-
gonna let you know. We all know the history with Boston folk. They gonna let you know in different ways. And we know Kyrie being the person he is, that's gonna definitely rub him the wrong way. He's gonna remember everything. Like he was flicking them off last year in the playoffs. You remember that with the Nets? He was flicking off them fans.
Yeah, I forgot about that, but yeah.
Because they were getting to him so much and all the history that they have there. So it's going to be an interesting 3 months. But what I will say, he's going to be on his best behavior. He knows he has a contract coming up. He has to be. He has to try to make it work. And Luka is going to have to try to make it work himself too. Luka knows he's the franchise, but Luka wants to win. And all those temper tantrums, Luka and stuff he be throwing, that energy might be going to Kyrie Irving now.
Let us know what you think of this move. Real quick before we transition to the Cowboys story, this is how crazy Kyrie Irving is. I forgot he was a Celtic. When you laid out the career, I totally forgot.
Ain't that something?
I just forgot.
Ain't that something?
That's nuts. And he was there, 17 to 19, 2 seasons.
What a waste of time.
That's crazy.
Think about if he would have stayed. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are so cold.
And Jaylen Brown, and they were all there together.
Jason Tatum
for those years.
Jason Tatum's the best two-way shooting guard in the league. In the league, Jaylen Brown. I mean, Jason Tatum on the other end might be MVP this year if Joker doesn't go 3-peat.
And it would have been such an obvious opportunity for Kyrie to be the one we're talking about. You want to move away from LeBron to be the one? Cool, here it is. It's wearing green. Are you ready? Because Jason Tatum, I think those ages are laid out to where Tatum would be the 2 and Jaylen Brown is an incredible 3 in that situation.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think Kyrie might be the 3.
Okay.
He might be the 3 in that situation, the way those guys been hooping. I don't.
The way they developed, yes. I'm saying like the way it was when he walked in the door.
For sure.
Right? Maybe
yeah.
At least get that opportunity to try to show us you could be that ultimate one.
His pop hooped at Boston U. Like, the market. You know what you're getting into when you went there.
He knows the fans.
In that trade. You know those fans. You know how they gonna be. But just mentally, he couldn't take it.
This text says, I think Kyrie works out great on the court, but there's still a nagging risk he tweets something that gets him banned from the society. Yeah, there's always going to be some social media aspects. So Kyrie Irving, Mark Cuban, the Mavs, Luka, there's all kinds of drama waiting in Dallas. If you get your tickets, you're probably going to have to pay a little extra money for that. So Kyrie to Dallas, a huge story up in Big D. A little bit lesser story in Dallas. We want to make sure we get out there is the Cowboys' new OC. And if you had not followed this story, Jerry Jones has already told everybody at the Senior Bowl or wherever it was that last time he spoke that Mike McCarthy's going to call plays. But now they have named an OC, and it is Brian Schottenheimer. He is now the new OC. If you wonder where they got him from down the hall. Because last year, he was a consultant with the Dallas Cowboys. Zay, Jerry just cannot help himself.
It has to be in home. It has to be in house.
It has to be a guy he knows. It has to be a guy that played for him. It has to be the guy that coached for him. Or in this case, it's a guy that was crushing film last year. And now they think Brian Schottenheimer has some kind of insight on Dak and the offense that can help out.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice if you look at Schottenheimer's track record these last few years. It ain't good. Like, he was the passing coordinator for Urban Meyer last year with Trevor Lawrence. Had that horrible season.
That was the last place he was?
That was the last place he was before he started crushing film.
Fair enough.
Yeah, then he was with Seattle those last few years when Russell Wilson started declining, and he was the Colts coach or quarterback coach for a little bit. So the name's big time. Marty Pops, absolute legend. And listen to this, Chad. You know whose first job was the coach in the NFL for Marty? Big Mike. Mike McCarthy.
Oh, is that right?
Kansas City, 29 years old. He was on that staff.
Oh, he's
so it's kind of one of those, pay it forward type things. And you talking to a kid that's lived off pay it forward, like whose pops is way more famous than him in this town and benefited off of that.
Mm-hmm.
That last name could go a long way.
Oh,
and
sure.
We're seeing it with Brian here, whether he's qualified or not. We know Big Mike's going to be running the plays and stuff, so the pressure's not going to be on Schottenheimer. It's not. Say
No.
what you want.
No.
You know, it's gonna be on Big Mike. He's calling the plays, and that was kind of the dealing point for Kellen Moore. They told him like, look, we're gonna have Big Mike call the plays now. You could stay if you want. And Kellen Moore had more pride and said, hell no, I'm gonna go work with a better quarterback than y'all have here in Dallas and watch me thrive. But again, Kellen Moore, remember what I said. You better rent. You better rent. Because Brandon Staley, yo, his seat hotter than a J-Lo sex tape. You better rent.
It's gonna be a wild football team to watch.
It is gonna be wild.
Yeah, if you want to make sure you're awake during NFL games, watch the Chargers. Get that new NFL Sunday ticket on your YouTube TV and watch nothing but Chargers games. You'll be wide awake for 3.5 hours every week. I promise you. Yeah. That's gonna be a weird team to watch.
It's gonna be odd. It's gonna be odd. But yeah, this move, I mean, as long as Big Mike's calling the plays, it wouldn't have mattered to me whoever they got.
I agree. Yeah, no, it's kind of an move to me. I'll hope that he's into some details. Maybe his dad passed along details that others didn't. But yeah, he hasn't shown a big track record. At least he's a little more old school in that way. Now we'll just see, does it revert all the way back with McCarthy calling plays and Schottenheimer looking over things? Do the Cowboys go all the way back the other way, where now it gets to be a little too old school? It gets to be a little too basic and all that kind of stuff. Because we were getting on Kellen Moore about not being fancy enough at times, not being consistently fancy enough in a modern NFL. Is that what we're about to watch with Mike McCarthy calling plays? Is it going to still feel bogged down, basic sets, not running the ball enough at times? Or is it going to be maybe bashing your head against the wall, running the ball too much, not involving CeeDee Lamb enough? What are we going to see out of a Mike McCarthy offense with Dak Prescott running it? I guess we're going to find out. But I don't know that this Schottenheimer move adds that much to it. I'm with you.
No, it doesn't. And, for Big Mike, Dak Prescott ain't Aaron Rodgers, dog. So them plays that you were calling that were making you look good, you had a 4-time MVP running those plays. Let's keep that in mind. Now you're calling plays for a guy that led the league in interceptions with 17. So the pressure goes seriously be on. And you don't have a running back to go old school right now. Unless you're going to sign Tony Pollard, okay, cool, but are they going to do that?
To me,
how much is he going to ask for?
You can't go old school with him. I don't think you can't give that guy 28 carries a game.
No.
25, whatever you're looking for. You've got to find a way to run the ball. You got to value your running game with Dak, but how they do that is going to be critical to watch. Somebody texted Cowboys and Mavs, huge circus, clown emoji. Great topical discussion for the show, smiley face. Oh yeah, always gives us something to talk about. So there you go, 2 big stories involving Big D, and somehow Mark Cuban ended up with the bigger story. Well done, sir. Kyrie Irving to the Mavs ahead of the deadline. A huge story from over the weekend. Coming up in the crap bag, we'll talk Pro Bowl games. Of course, the Super Bowl is coming up this week. We'll be talking Eagles and Chiefs throughout the week and set up some of that for you coming up. But also, the Right Call segment is coming up. Texas basketball gets a huge road win at K-State, and then they hit the bus, and they're headed over to Kansas to try to do it again. Zay will break it all down for you next on The Horn. This is Chad. Let's talk a little Apple leasing after the craziness of the weather last week. Let's face it, you might have a car, a truck that suffered some damage. You're trying to figure out how to fix it and what's the process and all that. Maybe if it's time for a new car, truck, SUV, Apple Leasing can help you out with that. Any make, any model, any car, any truck. Yes, they will deliver it right to your driveway like they did for me, and they'll drive away that trade-in if that's what you're looking to do. You'll be paying for the part of the car that you're using. That's what's so great about leasing. Now is as good a time, if not the best time ever, to be leasing. You're still coming off of, we're into February now, but you can still ask them about, is there still any end-of-the-year stuff or, 22 selections that some of those dealerships have. They'll go around and check all their different sources and save you so much time, save you the legwork. It's the easiest and safest way to get a new car. They get the discounts and incentives that the dealers do, and they pass those savings on to you, and they keep the dealer hassles for themselves. 346-9977 is that number. 346-9977, or click appleleasing.com. All right. The crude oil blues.
That's right.
Is that what I heard? Man. The only thing that pops in my head is Jerry Reed.
Man.
I get
From
it?
half court.
There it is. The Snowman. That's what it sounded like.
The
There
Snowman.
it is.
Why they call him that?
He was he's the truck driver in Smokey and the Bandit.
Ah.
So he was also did a little bit of singing. I don't know how close to the top of the charts Jerry would have gotten with a couple of his songs. But he did the theme song, Eastbound and Down, Loaded Up and Truckin'. That's Jerry Reed. He has a couple others. I'd never heard this song, but it did sound like Jerry. So there you go. Shout out to the great Jerry Reed. And if you haven't seen Smokey and the Bandit, you really should.
They used to call Young Jeezy the Snowman.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he used to sell cocaine.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
A little different.
Yeah, a little different.
Something a little different.
Yeah, he used to sell snowman shirts. And I remember I bought one. My mom's like, why are you wearing a snowman shirt? It's not Christmas. And I was like, oh, it's just a cool shirt, Mom.
To be fair, I don't know that they ever explained why they called the snowman in Smokey and the Bandit. I have no idea. Now that I think about it, I don't know that they ever fully explained that. But it is a great movie. Go check it out from whatever that is, late 70s, if not early 80s. Maybe it's like 80, 79, 80, somewhere in there. So Jerry Reed gets us started today. It is not only crazy times in Dallas with Kyrie coming to the Mavs, Cowboys naming an OC. We've also got, of course, the Super Bowl coming up with the Eagles and the Chiefs. We want to remind you the Horns' big game coverage is brought to you by Texas Truck and Trailer. Oh, they're excited about the Chiefs over at Texas Truck and Trailer. We may even be talking to our guy. I believe it's Terry is his name. Shout out to the Texas Truck and Trailer folks. They are big Chiefs fans, so I am all about that this week. I'm about anybody who's rooting for the Chiefs and Mahomes and not rooting for the Eagles. If you need to check out Texas Truck and Trailer, 512-528-6038. We'll be talking Super Bowl throughout the week. Our man Super Bowl Stu is in Arizona. I heard him on with B&E this morning. Stu's out there, going to get interviews that we'll put online at hornfm.com, but he's also trying to set up interviews for the different shows. And Zay, we may luck out this week because it's Arizona and they're an hour back of us. So by the time it gets to our time, it's 11 a.m. in Arizona. So there may be a little bit for Light the Tower, I'm hoping. Bucky and Aaron may be tough.
Yeah.
Because they finish at 9 o'clock local time in Arizona. I don't know that people are getting up and getting to Radio Row by then. We will hope they will. But right now, we've already told you, possibility of Earl Campbell and Tony Dorsett at the same time on Thursday.
Just running back royalty.
Oh, my God. 12:15 on Thursday. That's what we're hoping for. And then today, Super Bowl Stu lets me know that we may get to talk to Ronde Barber. Come on now.
One of the most underrated corners of all time.
I am so excited as not only a fan of football in general, but yes, I am a Bucs fan and a Cowboys fan. So Ronde Barber and that big-time defense in 03, I guess the 02 season, 03 Super Bowl, one of my favorites ever. And now all three cogs, the three most important cogs, I believe, are in the Hall of Fame now, aren't they? Sapp, Lynch, and Barber, I think, are all in.
I don't know if Ronde's in.
Or maybe Ronde.
I know Lynch is in.
Maybe Ronde's a finalist now.
Yeah.
We'll double check that. We'll certainly double check it before we talk to him. So Ronde, congratulations. I'm not in, man. What are you talking about? But I think he may be on. I think he's on the list this year. I think he's on that finalist list.
I think so too.
And he's gonna find out this year. So I'm really hoping.
It's a tough list.
Oh, I hope this is his year though. That'd be so cool to see. So hopefully that's coming later in the week. Right now though, let's get to what's coming tonight at Allen Fieldhouse. The Longhorns travel to Kansas after what they did over the weekend. Let's get the right call segment. Zay, lots of Longhorn basketball to talk about. They look good on Saturday.
That's right, Chad. The Right Call segment's brought to you by Syntex Tickets. You hear Bucky Godball on these airways all the time. Hey, Shelby, get them to me. Get them to me quick. Go to syntextickets.com for your concert, theater, stand-up, and sports tickets. Find it all at syntextickets.com. Yeah, Chad. And did we see Christian Bishop in Manhattan, or was that a Fab Five version of Juwan Howard?
Oh, there you go.
Did we see Christian Bishop in Manhattan on Saturday, or was that Brad Daughtry playing for the Cavs? I'm trying to think of other light-skinned beige brothers that played in the post, but it's a little fuzzy right now. But my man Christian Bishop, 14 points, 6 rebounds, all in the second half. I said on Twitter, should have got the game ball. He was terrific, and what a game. Just what a game. That first half was awful. 11 turnovers. It seemed like nobody could get anything working. There was a couple of possessions where Christian Bishop smoked 2 easy layups. Just completely smoked them. I'm like, good. Almost threw my phone.
Bunnies.
Then, a couple of possessions later, Serge Ibaka Rice smokes 2 of his own.
Yep.
It's like, come on, fellas. Y'all got to give me something. Like, y'all are getting good looks. They were getting good looks. Brock Cunningham, he hit a couple of shots early in that first half, and it's just Kansas State, they were putting it on them. And Keontae Johnson, him getting in foul trouble, that was a big deal because he couldn't be as aggressive as he wanted to be. And Timmy Allen, I don't, people aren't going to remember the big game he had. He only had 8 points in 31 minutes, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Him chirping with Keontae Johnson all game, that was huge. That was huge. That's taking your leader out the game. Yeah, Keontae Johnson had 16, was their leading scorer, but when your team is struggling in the second half, they need their leader to tell everybody, hey, bring everybody together. Yo, guys, we got to relax. We got to get back to the basics. Let me get the ball in my sweet spots. Marquise, you got to quit turning the ball over. Marquise Noel had 10 points. I'm sorry, he had 10 points. 6 assists or 3 assists. He had like 6 turnovers.
6 turnovers. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
So if you're Keontae Johnson, Marquise, slow down. But you can't be doing that when you're chirping with Timmy Allen the whole game. They're out here just talking. Every time Keontae Johnson does something, him and Timmy Allen going back and forth. While Timmy Allen, the Horns, they're thriving off that stuff. Like Christian Bishop, when he's finishing those layups, he fist pumping, beating his chest, this and that. The bench going crazy. Coach Terry going crazy. And remember, Chad, that Iowa State game, Caleb Grill did that dirty stuff. I'm going to keep bringing it up.
Yeah.
He did that dirty stuff, undercut Dylan Mitchell. I said, Coach Terry, you got to get a tech in that situation. You got to lose it. There was a moment in that game where Keontae Johnson, which he already had 3 fouls. Marcus Carr was running along, just moving along with the offense, playing D. Keontae Johnson just takes him out right in front of the Texas bench. Right in front of the Texas bench. Coach Terry loses it. Coach Terry, what you doing this and that again? After him, the ref had to chill him out.
Right.
The ref had to say, Coach, chill.
But that's what you got to do.
That's what you got to do.
Right.
That's what you got to do.
Because that place had 11,000 packed in there, and they were going crazy.
They were going crazy.
Yeah.
And Sir'Jabari Rice, man, those free throws that he hit, Marcus Carr in the first half to end the half, Marcus Carr misses a shot. Brock Cunningham tips it out. Sir'Jabari Rice. The signature pump fake comes through again. It was a 14-point game at that point. He got him off the feet, gets fouled, goes to the free throw line, makes all 3. It's an 11-point game. After that, the Horns come back. They make their first 6 shots in the second half. 17-4 run, just like that. Just like that. Tyrese Hunter hit a huge 3 in the corner off a Timmy Allen block on Keontae Johnson. Go back to him not being aggressive. You can't go through Timmy Allen now, Keontae Johnson. You're about 6'7", 240. You can't go through Timmy Allen now. You got 3 fouls. So every time you drive, you're thinking about that. And Timmy Allen's really good about sliding in front of guys and taking that charge. He took one in Manhattan on Saturday to start one of those runs that the Horns had. So, man, this team, so much heart, so much pride. Coming back from TCU, down 18 points. Coming back from Texas Tech, down 12 points. And then coming back from 14 against Kansas State. Just everybody was solid at different points of the game. And Christian Bishop, that's why I said earlier, looked like Juwan Howard, Fab Five, just going to work. And then that finish that he had to put the Horns up 1 with about 37 seconds left, go to the right, spin back to the right shoulder, to that dominant shoulder because you're left-handed, but finish with the right hand. That was such a skilled move. Oh, that was so skilled. That's Kevin McHale somewhere saying bravo, standing up, giving a standing ovation. That's what you want to see from a 6'7", undersized big that Christian Bishop is. And he hasn't been playing well. He hasn't. I've told y'all last week, him getting the foul trouble has been a serious problem, but the Horns are so deep that they just find somebody else each game. Brock Cunningham had his game against Oklahoma State. Dylan DeSue had a really good game against Tech. Sir'Jabari Rice has been big all year long. And Tyrese Hunter, he's finally starting to come along with his defense.
Hunter had a nice move late, too, cut to the basket.
Oh, that was so nice.
Woo, that was nice.
Yeah, they were taking advantage of my man Kuntha. I don't know old boy's name. The dark-skinned brother, Iola, number 23, about 30 years old. I just kept calling him Kuntha. They were taking advantage of him. Tyrese Hunter slipped through that lane. He took only 1 dribble. He had 1 dribble at the 3-point line and somehow got to the rim. It was unbelievable. And then just the D on Marquise Noel all game.
Yeah.
Because he took that matchup personal. Oh, boy had 36 on you. I know you had your 29, but he had 36 on you. That can't happen. You're supposed to be a defensive stopper. That can't happen. So challenge them. That's what Coach Terry does. He challenges these guys. All the coaching staff, Chappelle, Donald, they all challenging these guys. And these guys being just so mature, all of them 24, 23 years old. You know, they have so much to play for. They play so hard, not just for Coach Terry, but for the front of the jersey. And it's fun to watch. And you're very prideful and proud of these guys for this tough-ass road schedule that they had, this tough-ass 4-game schedule that you've been talking about. Yeah, they, crapped the bed a little bit against Tennessee, but to come back and beat Baylor, then beat a really good Kansas State team and come back like they did, they have another opportunity tonight to beat a good Kansas team that's going to give them everything.
Yeah.
Like, they got embarrassed at Hilton Coliseum.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, these teams come in very different tonight. So the Longhorns get no worse than a split of those 4 games. Now they can go for that 3-1. It'd be a hell of a statement if they can stay in first place, get the win tonight. So considering what happened to Kansas and the fact that Iowa State took them out at Hilton. So we've seen them get blown out at home this year. That was TCU that did it to them, right?
Yes.
And now we've seen them get blown out on the road. Now Texas goes in there on a bit of a high. What do you want to see tonight from Texas to finish this thing off 3-1 with this 4-game stretch?
I mean, we know they're going to fight for 40 minutes, so you don't got to worry about that. It's just about Coach Terry, which he's done a good job at, mixing and matching and seeing who's hot and seeing who should be finishing games, because it could be anybody. Anybody can finish those games. We know most likely it's going to be the 3 guards, Rice, Hunter, and Carr, but from the bigs, you just never know. You like Timmy Allen out there for show, but as far as the Sioux, Dylan Mitchell, he played well and had some really nice fast break passes / fast break layups in that game against Kansas State. Jalen Wilson, he'll probably be Big 12 Player of the Year for Kansas, but everybody else, they're manageable. Grady Dick's a first-round pick, but he's a freshman. He's going through a freshman slump right now. Dejon Harris, he's so inconsistent. You cannot let him get going. Tyrese Hunter, you cannot let Dejon Harris get going. They're a completely different team if Dejon Harris gets over double figures. If he doesn't, then they struggle as a whole. KJ Adams, the Westlake alum, he's going to be scrappy, and it's going to be a fun little Austin battle with him and Dylan Vasu because they go back playing against each other. It's, I'm excited for tonight. And the Horns got a huge opportunity to play against another top 10 team to get another quad 1 win to help their case when they're trying to get a number 1 seed.
Clearly from halftime on, the Longhorns can be really, really tough to deal with. Based on what you just saw from Bishop, would you start him tonight?
No.
Okay.
Keep it same.
Leave everything the same?
Leave everything the same.
Okay.
Leave everything the same. And I've been the first one to say maybe they should make an adjustment with, Tyrese Hunter. I know Mo. Don't mess with what's cooking.
Yeah. Here's all I know right now. If somebody walked up to me and said, Chad, we're going to take your car unless someone you choose to hit a free throw hits a free throw, I'm sending Jabari Rice to the line.
Oh, yeah.
That guy, late in a game, when he needs it, boom, all net. It's scary good. In a building like that's packed to the gills with people in purple that hate his guts, and he just stepped up and nailed them all.
It's sad that we only get 1 year of him.
Whew.
It's so sad that we only get 1 year of him because he plays the game the right way. He plays hard. You know who he reminds me of, Chad? Drew Holiday.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah.
He reminds me of just the composure and the maturity. Nothing rattles him. He's just tough. At the end of the game, he played good D on Keontae Johnson and forced just some bad shots when Kansas State, they went on a tough 5-minute stretch where they didn't score at all. That was a huge stretch for the Horns defensively, and Jabari Rice, he's a big part of it. So, yeah, man, you're right, Jess. He ice in his veins. He knocks down free throws, and now that pump fake is even more deadly because he's starting to hit outside shots. He hit 2 back-to-back threes, huge threes in that second half. And if he's going to continue to make shots from the outside, you're going to bunt on the pump fake no matter what.
That one that rattled in that made it 56-50. That's one of the biggest shots of the game. That thing was silly. One other quick number, assist to turnover. Texas was -1 on the road. K-State was -8 at home. That's big time by the end for Texas. So Longhorns put up another hell of a fight. Can they do it again tonight? 8 o'clock tip. 7:30 pregame, Texas at Kansas, right here on the Horn, and that is the Right Call segment. We bring it to you every time the Longhorns are about to play, every game day at 12:30 for you, right here on Chad and Zay. Coming up at 1:05, it's Joe Cook from Inside Texas. More Longhorn basketball talk with him, plus his thoughts on Kyrie Irving to Dallas. Up next, though, in the crap bag, how about the thoughts on the Pro Bowl games? Did you watch? Did you like the Mannings? Did you like what they came up with? Or is it still something that we should get rid of? We'll talk about it on the Horn. Wow. Man's got pipes. All right. What's the song called, Zay?
Love's a bitch.
Oh, wow. A lot of people nodding right now as they're driving around. Okay.
Yeah, with Valentine's Day coming up, this is appropriate.
Yeah, no, it's very, very good.
Love's a bitch.
Yeah, I thought it was somebody else when it started. Clearly not them. That's too smooth to be Jackal, but I'll say Jackal.
That's a group?
It is a group, but it's too smooth.
Nah. Tora.
Okay. Old, a little older than that. Yeah, I was never super into Tora. So my apologies to the Tora fans out there. Didn't realize it was a Tora song.
That before your metal time?
Not before, just a little different side of it. That was Tora was a little bit of like a derivative of the stuff I was listening to. And sometimes when the derivative happens, you go with them, and sometimes you don't. Tora was just a band that I noted they were there, but I didn't go with them. I didn't follow, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like you just don't follow everything that's happening.
How do you not follow? I'm looking at the album cover right now, and it's a plane with a naked woman that has just a towel. Like the towel's slipping off her body.
See, I didn't see that. If I'd seen it, I would have followed. Well, you got a year on that? Because that could help explain it.
I do not.
Yeah, if you had a year, we're probably late 80s, early 90s, and there was maybe some distractions going on there. Tora and Jerry.
1989, you're right.
89, okay. Tora and Jerry Reed got us started today, believe it or not. It is Chad and Zay on this Monday as we head towards the Super Bowl, as we head towards Texas at Kansas. Tonight, we got Joe Cook of Inside Texas coming up at 1:05. His thoughts on the game tonight, the game in Manhattan, obviously, with a big comeback win. We'll get his prediction on the Super Bowl and what does he think of Kyrie to Dallas, plus some recruiting notes as we close off the 2023 class. But there's still a couple stories out there that a lot of Longhorn fans are following. Right now, though, let's hit a little more NFL, the silly side of it in the crap bag. What'd you think of the Pro Bowl? Here we go. Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. I did check out the Pro Bowl games, and before my opinion comes into it, or Zay's does, I think the players' thoughts on it does matter. I like when the home run derby and slam dunk contest produce, like, grown men becoming children, and they get really excited. And Zay, they did. So if nothing else, even if somebody told me, oh, I hated this idea, it was stupid, it seemed like the guys were into it. So that drew me towards it because it seemed like they cared.
Right.
So I like that. Did you watch and did you like it?
I did watch. I did like it. I thought Pat McAfee and Kirk Herbstreit were terrific. I thought Peyton Manning and Eli and then Ray Lewis and DeMarcus Ware on the other side, I thought they were good too. And like you said, the guys, they had fun and they played hard. It was competitive. And, you know, I reffed flag football once upon a time.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I get all the rules and it could be fun. Like I remember going to Craig Field and reffing in those leagues and seeing guys like Ricky Williams and Lyman Sweet and Mike Griffin out there at random times and stuff. So those guys, they love to get out there and just play the game, especially when they know they're not going to get injured from it. So, yeah, I thought it was a smart move for the NFL, especially when we know what all could happen. And these guys are just too valuable to keep playing the way the Pro Bowl used to be. So, yeah, I like it moving forward. And, yeah, it was a fun weekend. Having it in Vegas, that's smart, too.
So I'm excited that you used to be an official. Now you can help me on this. At the end of the game, is Eli allowed to do that? Are you allowed to just take a knee? Because they said a rule was if you're inside the 5, you can't run the ball. Is taking a knee in flag football considered a run, or can you do it?
See, that's a little much. I'd think it was considered a run, but everybody has different rules.
So you'd have made him remember. Would you have made him kept throwing into the end zone then? You would have made him throw it some way?
Yeah. It was an overthrow, like throw it out of bounds.
Yeah. That was a little bit of, I guess, confusion at the end.
The fact that Peyton got so mad, that was odd.
I dug that. I like that. I like the competitiveness.
It's insane.
He was fired up. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought, there's some, I would have some notes for them. We talked about the no water balloons. They probably need to take that one out.
Yeah.
I didn't think that did much.
Yeah, be done with that.
More quarterbacks. That quarterback skills competition was good. Give us a little bit more of that. And the whole kick-tack-toe thing was all right, but they didn't quite land that one like I wanted them to. Like, you need to make that about kickers. You got Justin Tucker there. Let him show off a little bit. And ultimately, like, there was a moment there where they said a ball hit a spot, and then you could see that it didn't really hit that spot. So they need to maybe tweak that up. But the number one thing that this old man would bring up is, I know Madden's popular. I get that. But we have all agreed in 2023 that the angle you shoot a football game from is down the 50-yard line. That's the angle. Stop giving me the Madden angle on every single down. The first version of the XFL showed us that's not how you do it. That's a secondary angle. It can help. It can help show on a replay how a quarterback saw something. But, Zay, that annoyed me to the point where I actually fast-forwarded through some of it because I hate that angle. I can't do that on every single play. It doesn't show me enough.
There's like 6 people on the field.
That bugged me.
There's like 12 people on the field. You mean you can't see enough?
You thought that angle was good for what they were doing?
For what they were doing, yes. Would I like to see it in the actual game? Like if the Super Bowl was coming up and we were doing that, I would not be happy. But for the flag football game, it's fine.
Yeah, that one bugged me a little bit. But hey, if everybody loved it, that's cool. I'll be the old man that maybe didn't.
Like the Stephon Diggs non-touchdown where his feet didn't get in. You couldn't see it really good at all due to the bad camera angle.
You could not see that.
You could
That's
not
true.
see nothing.
So then once they show the replay and we just realized, and I agreed with the announcers, it's like, nah, let's move on. It's the Pro Bowl games. Let's not really go back and take that away. All that stuff I agree with. It's just that we've all agreed to it, and we all, I did, but even me as an XFL fan in 2001, I agreed they used it too much. The XFL kind of invented that camera angle and then used it too much, and we all said, okay, we'll use that secondarily, not as the primary shot. They went primary on the Madden shot, and their secondary was like, I don't even know where that one was. It was like low off to the left, back corner of the end zone. It's like, could you get me further away from Trevor Lawrence right now? I can barely see him. What are we doing? Sorry, that's the only thing. That's the only thing I got. Overall, I was entertained. The whole, rip the weights off the wall and pull the wall, I was into that.
Yeah, that was cool.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. Multiple flag games and then start that last game with the cumulative score. It all made sense to me. Plus, I'm an NFC guy, so I'm always glad when the NFC wins. That stuff kind of matters to me with an old school mindset. So the only issue they had, injury-wise, was Myles Garrett. In that over-under, up the wall, and under the thing. And as they were doing that, I thought, ooh, this one could hurt somebody.
Only an Aggie would get hurt at the Pro Bowl event.
How dare you? They were making him climb a wall and then go up under.
Nobody else got hurt.
Oh, come on, man. And he's running against Burns? Burns is a freak of nature.
Myles Garrett was probably asking questions like, how do you do this? How's this go? Myles, we've already went over it like 4 times already.
Come on, man. Come on. Apparently, it was some kind of dislocated toe. It was a toe issue for Myles Garrett in the Pro Bowl games. Let us know what you thought of it. 337-3776 is your Specs text line, and we do the crap bag every day about 12:45. Up next, it is Joe Cook of Inside Texas on 3.com. He's at Joseph Cook 89 on Twitter. He's got thoughts on Texas basketball, the Super Bowl, and more. Stay with us. We've also got a flex segment for you at 1:30. Some rescheduled boys and girls basketball games. We'll tell you where you can find the full list coming up on the Horn. All right, how about hour number 2 on a Monday? Getting Super Bowl week started. Longhorns at Kansas tonight. And yes, we were just reviewing the Pro Bowl games and what people liked and didn't like. One texter says, I loved it when Ramsey hit Hill in the flag football part. That was good. Somebody else said they need to include some water sports. Somebody else really enjoyed Peyton Manning caring way too much about the end
Oh, what's wrong with him?
of that game. Screaming at the official, it's a penalty, it's a penalty. You said they couldn't do it.
You're screaming at a flag football official, Peyton.
Yes.
Do we realize that?
Apparently he does also double as like some Power 5. He's in some Power 5, I think. I think he's a Pac-12 guy.
Still.
If I heard it correct. Oh, you're right. Yeah, no, a little serious. Little bit serious. We've hit all that so far, plus Kyrie to Dallas. Cowboys name an OC, and we hope you are having a good Monday. We hope you got your power back. If you don't, we are thinking about you today, and we're certainly thinking about all those people that are helping to try to get the power back on and the tree limbs off of the important stuff. Cars and houses and all of that and tree trimming, and everywhere I went this weekend, I saw a trailer hauling limbs everywhere. It was 4 or 5 of them every time we were out, even if we were just out for a few minutes. So thank you to all those people trying to get things cleaned up after what I've heard compared to almost a tornadic event or a hurricane type of event in terms of the trees dispersed and limbs and all that. So we hope everybody's doing well. I'm Chad Hastings, Isaiah Collier alongside as always. And if it's 1 o'clock on a Monday, it's time to talk to Joe Cook, Inside Texas on 3.com, at JosephCook89 on Twitter. If you're getting your follows together, how are you, sir?
Doing great. Glad to be here again. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, man. Obviously, Super Bowl week getting started. We'll get your thoughts on that, but definitely want to get your thoughts on this basketball team. Texas went to Manhattan, and I literally texted with Craig at halftime when they were down, and I just kind of texted him a little joking, hey, you want to remind them the game started here? And he's like, man, they cannot hit a shot. It's crazy. Like Zay was, it said, seemed like okay shots, but they just could not hit them. And I guess I should have sent the text earlier because, man, they turned it around and came back and got a huge win.
Yeah, it's always pretty simple. It's a make or miss game, and Texas was missing way too many shots to start. Heard you talking about it. They were just missing layups, and they were getting really good looks within the flow of the offense. It wasn't just forcing things up. They were getting good production, just ball wasn't finding the hoop. But once Keontae Johnson went out with those fouls, again, kind of like y'all mentioned, that really changed the complexion of the game. Marquise Noel, just not his best, and you got to give credit to Marcus Carr. Tyrese Hunter. One thing I really noticed with Tyrese Hunter is, of course, Sir'Jabari Rice has his double-double. Christian Bishop has 14, but Rodney Terry has a bunch of trust in Tyrese Hunter right now. And, I think if you asked a lot of Texas fans, they'd be questioning that decision, but it really worked out because Tyrese Hunter was the point guard for basically that whole game, kept the ball out of, took some responsibility off of Marcus Carr's plate, played really good defense on Marquise Noel, and was key in helping Texas mount that second half comeback.
Yeah, Joe, Tyrese Hunter, it seems like his confidence with Coach Terry just trusting him the way that he's been has gone better and better, up and more and up, and everybody just plays so hard, not for just Coach Terry, but for themselves, because they know what's at the line. They know what happened on December 6th, and everybody has their eyes on the campus on what's going to happen with Texas. They had so many expectations at the beginning of the season. Well, they can still do what they're set out to do. They can still make it to Houston, and with that win in Manhattan and maybe a win tonight, they're looking at a number 1 seed, and that's huge. Getting the number 1 seed, whether you're Midwest, South, West, East, whatever you go, just getting that number 1 seed and knowing that, it's probably going to be a closer to home region, and that's going to benefit the Horns when they get into March.
Yeah, it seems like there are 5 teams right now that are in contention to be for those 4 number 1 spots. You got Purdue, you got Alabama, you got Tennessee, and Houston, and I guess you throw Texas in there as well. But Texas is leading the Big 12, and if they win this game tonight, that puts them to 9-2 with 7 more to play. That's a really good spot to be in. Usually I think it takes about 13 or 14. Usually it's like a minimum of 13 out of the 18, but 14, 15, you're in a really strong position, and there's no way that the committee's not going to reward the Big 12 regular season champion, this gauntlet of a conference, probably with a 1 seed. So that happens. You get a team that has to go to Dayton first. That's not going to be fresh. Of course, it'll be a 16 seed. You can't overlook them, as we know from Virginia and Kentucky, even as a 2 seed in these past couple of years. But yeah, that's definitely in contention, especially if they win that Big 12 regular season title for the first time in 15 years, I think.
Damn.
That's easy number 1 seed status.
Yeah, though they'd be looking right at it. There's so many impressive things to me about Saturday, and we've talked about these like halftime, discussions, adjustments, and things that have gone on with Coach Terry. But you're kind of making the point, Zay made it earlier too. I mean, there may not have been the need for that. It may have just been, hey, keep doing what you're doing. You're getting those shots. If I'm a K-State fan watching that game late first half, I'm worried. It went from 14 to 11. Then as that half starts, your team was clunky, and Texas got it was like 6 at the first time out, 3 at the next one, and they had the lead on the next one. Then they just hit them with a storm right away. So in terms of an adjustment, if somebody says to you, well, they got to work on the earlier part, do they really? Or is it just try to set up what you did, but hit those bunnies and hit good shots?
Yeah, I think it's just coming out with a little bit more composure. I mean, and this is an old team. It knows how to play this game, but you just got to be relaxed and trust what the offense does and how it works, because it was working. Like we mentioned, they were getting good looks. I think the key for this team is just getting paint touches. It really does revolve around that, and it could be a variety of different ways of getting those. It could be Timmy Allen cutting. It could be Brock Cunningham cutting. It could be putting the ball in Christian Bishop or Dylan Dessou's hands. When they work inside out, that's their best offense, because they have so many different experienced guys who know how to move without the ball, that if they're able to do that around an interior possession, it's pretty easy for them to get a good look. When they start dribbling, now you've got a guy in Marcus Carr who can start to hit those shots a little bit more than maybe the average college player, but it's not that doesn't create the best offense for the Longhorns. So interior touches, which I think they'll be able to do tonight against Kansas. It's not like they have a 6'10" guy in there. I think the 5 that they've played most of the year has KJ Adams from down the road playing as the 5. And I got to go see a game. I think it was that Friday night before Texas played Kansas in football. They played Southern Utah or Utah Tech, Utah State, a school in Utah most people aren't familiar with. And their lack of size was even a problem against a team like that who's a low major. So Kansas is still good. I mean, Jalen Wilson's probably going to be the Big 12 Player of the Year. Kevin McCullough, DeJuan Johnson, those are really good players. But, I think Texas matches up well with this team because Kansas doesn't have the type of size that makes life difficult for Texas, and they can match up seemingly at all 5 spots.
Yeah, this is one of those Bill Self teams where, he lost a lot of good guys last year, and Remy Martin and Oshai Abaji and Christian Brown, who's doing big things for the Denver Nuggets right now. I think he's feeling it. And Jalen Wilson, as good as he is, like you said, he probably will be Big 12 Player of the Year. The rest of those guys, they could be invisible at times. Like Kevin McCullough, he's kind of struggling at times, finding himself in his role in Bill Self's offense, playing under Chris Beard and Mark Adams, and then DeJuan Harris. He ain't no Remy Martin. And Grady Dick ain't no, Christian Brown. So it's going to be tough for them tonight. And you feel good for one of the few times in the history of Texas going to Allen Fieldhouse. You feel good tonight, Joe.
Exactly. I think it's only like a 3.5 point spread, something like that.
Wow.
And that's, at Fog Allen. And like I said, being able to go there and see that, it is just a place that is focused on basketball. You're sitting in uncomfortable seats. It's a little stuffy. There's no ribbon boards. You find out what the score is, how much time left, who's got the arrow, how many fouls they have, and that's about all the info you're going to get there.
Yep.
No music's playing. You're getting the pep band experience, but it is a cathedral, and it is a really cool place. And this will be, if Texas wins there, I think I looked it up, it'll be the 3rd win there in the Big 12 era and the 2nd in a non-COVID situation. Because remember that Greg Brown team went into a limited capacity Allen Fieldhouse on the day Sark got hired and just beat him by 25. But it was a limited capacity Allen Fieldhouse.
It's an interesting point. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but that's It is a rare thing to be able to do, but we watched TCU go in there and thrash them. So we'll see what happens with Texas tonight, 8 o'clock tip there. A couple other quick Longhorn notes, football-wise. Warren Roberson out of Red Oak. I haven't said Red Oak this much the whole time I've been on radio. It's incredible.
Yeah, ain't that your rival?
I wouldn't say rival, but nearby.
It's not a Gerald and Florence
It's
thing.
not
like
quite that.
Jeff
No,
Howe.
Ennis is the big rival with Waxahachie. When I was growing up, it was Ennis and Waxahachie, not Red Oak. Red Oak would have been they would have been the class down.
Gotcha. They
so
were 3A at the time.
They would have been 3A and we would have been 4A at the time, so I don't believe we would have been playing. But Warren Roberson, the decision's coming this week sometime?
Yeah, Tuesday. Tomorrow morning, Justin Wells will be there for Inside Texas. He was a Warren Roberson TCU commit, 2023 defensive back. Did not sign with the Horned Frogs in the early signing period. Has listened, and this isn't a recruitment that Texas is just now starting to get in 2023. They had offered him, I think, earlier in the year and maintained contact. And of course, they ramped things up over the course of the last month or so. Kind of come down to TCU, Texas, and USC. I think he's visited all three in recent weeks, but we're sending Justin there to go cover it, and we'll see what hat he decides to pick up if he does one of the classic hat ceremonies.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll be a big time flip because I'm tired of Sonny Dykes succeeding. Like, I'm already over that. Just going to the championship, going to the Big 12 championship. I'm so over that. Let me ask you this, Joe. We saw the Big 12 schedule come out last week, and it looks pretty good for Texas going up to, U of H and then having BYU come down here. But we've heard the news on the Horns and OU staying in the Big 12 till 2025. Whatever happens after, we'll see. But it seems like Fox kind of has the stranglehold on everybody. How do you feel about that situation?
I think that's the right read on it. With Texas and Oklahoma, if you go to the SEC, they're going to have ESPN's got basically full control of football media rights for the SEC. But at the same time, they have a significant amount of control of Big 12 media rights too. You got all the Big 12 Now stuff for all the other sports. I think it's like 66% of football games or something like that. So not only does Fox want to get what they're paying for the next 2 years, or be properly compensated for it, ESPN doesn't want to overpay for their Big 12 inventory without Texas and Oklahoma. So it's a little bit of a, making sure everybody has exactly what they're looking for. I do think it is mostly on Fox, though, and not wanting to get a league that they're just vastly overpaying for that doesn't include Texas and Oklahoma. And I think, it does confirm a lot of Texas bravado about, these two teams carry the conference. But when you hear that Fox doesn't want to, they want to play a little bit of hardball in terms of an early exit because of market value, I think that's the biggest indicator that bravado holds pretty darn true.
Yeah, why would you want to lose them before you have to lose them? I mean, that's kind of what the Big 12 is looking at.
Yeah, and I've seen Bobby Burton posted something on Inside Texas about this earlier today, and a lot of the discussion about it is like, just let Fox have this, and it. These are ironclad contracts, pretty close to ironclad contracts, because I don't want to say it's ironclad because Texas is trying to get out of it, obviously. But, when you have hundreds of millions and now you're kind of venturing into the billions of dollars at stake, you can't just, make some changes on a handshake when it comes to terrestrial television and stuff like that. So a lot of lawyers, a lot of working things out, but it's not dead. It's not. I think when people saw that Pete Thamel report, they thought, okay, stamp, it's done, 2025. They're still working to get out for that 2024 season, but it's going to be pretty difficult to overcome the Fox hurdle.
Yeah, still a little time left. We'll see if they can figure out a window for whatever that 18-month time frame is, or see if they can get something done. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that one. Before we let you go, Super Bowl 57, Eagles-Chiefs. You got a thought?
And it's going to be a fun one. Two really good offenses, two pretty good enough defenses. Quarterback driven, but quarterback driven in different ways. I mean, Mahomes, he'll make every throw. He finds, a receiver core that doesn't have Tyreek Hill anymore. It's still a pretty good receiver core because you have Patrick Mahomes. You look at the Eagles, different things asked of Jalen Hurts. He's able to run the ball. We'll see what they decide to do with his health. I know he's had that bum shoulder, but it's a Super Bowl. There's nothing next week, so maybe they'll try and maybe put it in his hands upwards of 20 times in the entire game. So, and plus that Eagles front four, I did say, I kind of take that back. That Eagles front four is pretty menacing. So I don't know. I think it could be like a game in the 30s, not like a shootout, but not like a close, or like a defensive struggle. And it's hard for me to bet against Patrick Mahomes at this point. I really think it's going to be another Chiefs banner being raised up at Arrowhead.
Boy, I hope you're right. I hope you are right. They're saying he's able to practice with that high ankle sprain. He's able to practice,
Oh, yeah, he good.
Full participation so far.
You know Brittany taking care of him. Brittany Matthews, our crazy ass. She taking care of him.
Yeah, and a training staff of probably like 20. You realize how many people are checking on that ankle every day? Can you imagine?
That's an expensive ankle.
It's going to be like when anytime you spend time in the hospital, even if it's not that serious, you never feel like you can rest because there's always somebody coming in to check something. I bet they're checking that ankle every 10 minutes with him. Not able to get a breath. But, yeah, they're looking good. I hope you're right. As a Cowboys fan who doesn't want to see the Eagles raise another banner, I hope you are right, Joe Cook. I hope you're right. Zay, you got anything else for Joe?
Yeah, I do, Joe. Kyrie Irving to the Mavs. I know you're a Rockets fan and you're banking on the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes, but how do you feel about Kyrie going to the Mavs? Obviously, there are two Texas franchises going in different directions.
Absolutely. And I mean, this is a Mavs team that's on the edge of the play-in, just inside of it right now. You've seen how much it's kind of funny watching these Mavs teams look like James Harden teams of old, where they're just over reliance on one superstar player who's got a awesome style, but a pretty similar style to what prime James Harden was. And now they're trying to bring in, I guess, their Chris Paul or their Russell Westbrook. I don't know for this situation, but it should help. Should help Dallas if they can manage all the egos and personas and viewpoints, I guess, to say stuff like that. If they can manage all that aspect of it, it's going to be great on offense. We'll see what happens on defense. I know that it's easy to look at superstar players and be like, oh, they don't defend anymore. But, I mean, Luka Doncic isn't a great defender. Kyrie's okay. And Christian Wood has not been a good defender for most of his career. So I think it'll help. The West is tough. It'll help them stay competitive, especially with Luka, and I think showing that's a big deal. I'm just excited to see the Nets be in a worse position because of all the draft capital that the Rockets have as a result of that Harden trade from a couple of years ago. Because I think they got 3 firsts from Brooklyn.
Oh, and how they finish determines what the pick is.
If the Nets start missing the playoffs, that bodes really, really well for Houston. It's going to be tough with KD, but KD's not on the floor right now, or has not been on the floor that much. So, hey, as long as Brooklyn keeps losing, Mavs can do whatever they want. They can get to the NBA Finals and lose in 7. That'll be good for me.
That's a good, selfish Houston fan way to look at it. That's well done. That's a well-crafted thought right there. I hadn't thought that deeply into it.
But I just want the Nets to keep losing because that sets up Houston with, they're not going to spend all these first-round picks on guys. They're going to move them eventually. That's how you get creative, and that's how moves like the one you saw yesterday or a couple of days ago happen. That's how you move Kyrie is you get draft picks, and the ones that Texas or that I keep saying Texas, the one that Houston has as a result of that Nets trade, you want the Nets to keep losing to make it a more valuable commodity.
Hey, good news there. Ben Simmons apparently has no trade value. So as long as he's on the court, Nets probably have a good chance of losing.
We had somebody text in earlier about now will Kevin Durant seek a trade before Thursday?
He already tried that.
And now because
he already tried that. Didn't work.
Yeah. Not going to try it again.
How do you put together a Kevin Durant package in 4 days?
Can't do it.
Right.
Like, I think Kyrie, he gave him a week, and Kyrie's still an upper-tier player, but he's not a Kevin Durant. I don't know how a team goes like, all right, guys, Monday meeting. We're trying to get Durant. Can we do it in 4 days?
Yeah, don't think they're going to be able to. That's a good point. That's Joe Cook, Inside Texas, on3.com, at JosephCook89 on Twitter. Always good to see you, sir. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and we'll talk next week.
Absolutely. Should be a fun one to review.
Yeah, we'll talk to
Thanks,
him.
Joe.
By the time we talk to Joe next time, the basketball team will have 2 games under their belt, the game here at Kansas, and then they'll play West Virginia next weekend. And then, of course, we'll have a Super Bowl to talk about next Monday when we're all sad that football season's gone. But just hang on, one more game, and you just cling on to it as much as you can. Or pretend that you maybe care about the spring stuff like I'm going to try to do. That is Joe Cook. Coming up, your flex segment, some rescheduled games, power rankings out there for basketball. Plus, I will tell you something I saw this weekend that made me feel super, super old in the flex world. This is The Horn. All right, rolling through the beginning of Super Bowl week. Get you a little more information on that coming up. Kind of familiar with this song? Is this a... No, it's not where it went. Yeah, no, I don't have this one at all. I sort of know the song, but I got
This is a
no
90s
guess.
classic.
Yeah, so it's a band name, not an individual?
I think so. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Real McCoy.
Nah, that wasn't happening.
Runaway.
I knew the song. Real McCoy. All right, Real McCoy. Tora, with a song about life and love. And Jerry Reed earlier in the show. We appreciate Zay for all the great music, all the different music we have. There was a lot of different music last night at the Grammys. My girls and I watched that. Oh, my daughter's excited. Harry Styles took home 2 big awards, including Album of the Year.
Huh.
She flipped out. Certain pride when you're a music snob, when you own the Album of the Year. Even though you know that's kind of a weird thing to have, to say that something's the best album of the year. You get a little snobby when you own it, and she does now. So congrats to Harry for
Harry
that.
beat out Beyonce?
Dude, that list of 10 was thick. Beyonce, Coldplay, Adele? Lizzo,
Kendrick Lamar. Oh.
Dude, they were all
Harry.
in that list. They were all in that list. And while I will tell you that I dig the Harry Styles record, it was better than I thought it would be. For what it is, it's a pretty damn good album. I didn't think he was winning Album of the Year. Not against that crowd. I was like, okay, Harry. By the way, Mary J. Blige, did you say her? Mary J. is like, I think was in there.
Mary J., she was. Good Morning, Gorgeous.
Good. It was a great song. She performed it last night in a dress that was
I saw the dress.
barely hanging on. That was nice. There was a lot of nice cleavage that showed up at the Grammys last night. My Lord. From Mary J. Blige to Miranda Lambert. Hello. To Adele.
So Jay-Z had an event the night before, like Rock Nation brunch.
Uh-huh.
And people showed out there. Like Beyonce, she was wearing the lovely dress there.
She looked great last night, too.
There are a lot of big-time names there. So, yeah, I like the little hip-hop tribute. 50 years of hip-hop.
Yeah, we got to talk about that at some point. We got to dig into that whole thing. That just can't be discussed in one sentence. That was unbelievable. And real quick, congrats to Beyonce, all-timer now. The individual artist with the most Grammys ever after last night. 32, I believe, is now the number. 32. Some dude in the classical realm had 31. She tied him last night and passed him. 32 Grammy Awards.
Just a beautiful girl from Houston, Texas.
That's right. Just a girl trying to make it out of Houston.
Girl trying to make it. Incredible.
My goodness. Congrats to Beyonce. All right, so we got a lot of stuff going on today. It is 1:30, so we will get into the flex segment here. Some rescheduled games and a couple other things for you. Let's go to the flex. So, Zay, you were talking about this last week with the reschedule from the power stuff and ice and schools not being open. Some schools were going to be looking at almost kind of tournament vibes where you're playing a game one day and then you're going to turn around and do it again. So the updated list, you can find it at flxatx.com. The updated outlook for the week includes Westlake at Bowie. That's been rescheduled for tonight at 6:30. But Zay, you and I had already talked about that Westlake Buda Johnson game coming up, and you and Roger Wallace are still scheduled to do that one tomorrow, correct?
Correct.
So Westlake's got a little back-to-back here.
They do, and that's going to be tough. My man Trey Lindsay took over from my pops at Bowie. His team's going to be ready for Westlake. They're going to be prepared, so that's going to be a tough one for Coach Lucero. And then they got to play the number one team in the district, 26-6A, and Buda Johnson tomorrow night. So just, getting out of that one healthy going into tomorrow, that's all you want. But with last week and all the power outages and the crazy weather that we have, yeah, like you said, Chad, this tournament, AAU style select summer style type of feel, some guys are going to be affected by it and some guys not so much. Not everybody plays year round.
Right.
Not everybody is used to that, so playing one game, a 32-minute game, especially on the level of high school basketball in this area, then turn around playing another big one, that might be tough for a few teams. So we'll see who'll thrive and we'll see who'll suffer.
And according to this, Bowie then is going to turn around and play Lake Travis tomorrow evening at their place. At Lake Travis. Bowie hosts Westlake tonight. That Stony Point team we've been talking about, they're 26-1 now. Still the best team according to the rankings that Flex has for you, FLXATX.com. The new power rankings still have Stony Point at the top. They beat Cedar Ridge 70-55, and they just keep rolling. If you want to check them out, they will play tomorrow night at home against Westwood. So updated schedules for boys and girls. We appreciate you letting Flex know about it at FLXATX on your social media. There's signing day stuff going on. I believe this morning some schools were able to get those signing day events going. I think Manor was able to do theirs today. I also see Flex giving love to a Westlake guy from Westlake, Bryce Chambers, who has signed with Texas moving forward. Also, a little shout out to one of the studs out at LBJ, class of 26. So we're looking way ahead here. Caleb Crenshaw is a name you may know. That makes him a freshman from last year, right? Did I have that right? 22, 3, yeah. And so with the departure of Cedric Alexander, he's going to be one of those names you will be hearing. He's got a UTSA offer, rushed for 645 yards and 3 touchdowns on just 50 carries last year. That's 12.9 a carry if you need him.
Pretty good.
Not bad.
Pretty good.
And Flex was giving him some love the last couple of days. So remember to check out Flex ATX on your social media. And then, Zay, there was the moment when I felt like a really old man. So our man Nate, one of our favorite listeners, reaches out to let us know that his daughter is now a District 13 5A champion in wrestling.
Wow.
She apparently, from this picture, I am gleaning, if I know my logos, she is wrestling at Glenn High School. So I realize who this is, and I'm like, wait a second. Hold on. That's Nate's daughter? So wait a second. Years ago, Kevin Dunn and I are doing a show. I think it was around draft time. And Nate introduces himself, and his daughter's there with him, and she's like 5 at the time. And I knew, man, this guy must really dig the station, because I think we were at like Bombshells, or it was either Bombshells, Twin Peaks, Hooters, something like that. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be, you're bringing the kids in, bringing the kids in for that. It can be a little uncomfortable, but hey, it was great there at Bombshells that night, as I recall. But anyway, he walked up. She was cute as she could be, and she gave autographs to me and Kevin. She didn't want our autograph. She wanted to give her autograph to us. And
Legend.
So shout out to Grayson, who knew back then. She pulled the Andy Roddick. I'm only realizing now. She went Andy Roddick on us. Andy Roddick, when he was 8 or 9, he signed tennis balls for his family because he knew he was going to be famous. You could say that's egotistical, but he was also right. So he'd sign them and give them to you for Christmas and say that's going to be worth something someday. And he ends up being right. So Grayson signed the napkins for me and for Kevin, and somewhere in my house I still have the napkin. I hope I can find it. She also brought some little trinkets for me at one point, little like Buccaneer toys that they'd gotten out of the machine, that you have in the grocery store. She was the sweetest little girl, and now she's a wrestling champion. So I'm glad she's on my side. At least I hope, Grayson, you're still out there and you're still on my side.
You better not have lost that napkin.
Yeah, no, because trust me, I'm going to find that napkin so you don't have to come put me in like a sleeper hole or something. I don't need that. I definitely would be on the losing side there. But congrats to Grayson, and shout out to Nate, one of our great listeners there. That's what happens when you do it as long as I've done it, is people start growing up and kids are listening, and then they become, adults and stuff.
Yeah.
What is that?
Wrestler? Like, she's a badass.
Yeah, that's
winning
awesome.
State in wrestling.
How about that?
It's amazing.
District champ right now.
District champ. Oh,
District champ.
District champ.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the way.
On the way,
Headed
yeah.
to regionals. Headed to regionals now.
Okay, yeah.
We wish that Glenn wrestling team all the best and everybody else that's advancing in wrestling. Remember, Flex tries to cover it all, so let us know about your star athletes. Boys sports, girls sports, we try to cover it all, and the Flex crew tries to do a good job of covering it all for you. And we bring you that Flex segment at 1:30 every day. Coming up at 2, we'll get back into the big stories in Big D, where Kyrie Irving is a Maverick and the Cowboys get their OC. Plus, we've got some updates for you as we lead up to the Super Bowl, some Chiefs news. Also, if you believe in, superstition, the Madden simulation has been run on Super Bowl 57. We'll tell you what happened and what that means. Up next, though, it's Where We At in Society with Zay. We'll see what he's got for us as we start Super Bowl week. Keep it right here on the Horn. This is Chad. Let's talk Underdog Fantasy this week of the big game, and the easiest way to get into the action is Underdog Fantasy and a pick'em game. Here's all you do. Pick higher or lower on your favorite Chiefs or Eagles stats for the big game, and if you get all your picks right, you could win up to 20 times your money in a single night. Sounds pretty good. Plus, they are giving you making things even easier with this special pick for the big game. Starting Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern, so 9 o'clock our time, you'll be able to make a special pick on Jalen Hurts. Higher or lower, 0.5 total yards. You heard that right. 0.5 yards. He literally needs a yard in the game in order to go higher. You pair that with at least one other correct pick, max $20 entry, and you could be taking home some cold, hard cash. It's so easy to put these pick'em games together. I keep saying it, but if this old man can do it and put it on his phone and get the app, you can do it too. Sign up today with the promo code HORN. Get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store, and don't forget to register with my promo code HORN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 or over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. It's the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Get in on a pick'em game, and don't forget the special pick on Jalen Hurts. Be on the lookout for it at Underdog Fantasy. All right, rolling through a Monday. You're never going to do it without what?
The Fez.
Without the fez. Oh, like a hat?
I guess.
Is that what that is?
F-E-Z.
Fez. That's that puffy, like, isn't that like fuzzy hat? Like a winter hat? I think that's what a fez is. Ain't going to do it without the fez on. I have not heard this song. Yeah, I got no guess for you on this one.
You're bald. You could probably pull off the Fez.
I might need it. In cold weather, I might need a little fez. Who is it?
Steely Dan.
Oh, yeah, see? The Steely Dan fans will not be happy with me. Never a band I really got into. I know our man Craig Way digs Steely Dan. They're big time, man. Just I kind of miss Steely Dan. My dad wasn't into Steely Dan. My brother wasn't into Steely Dan. I never met anybody that was until I met Craig, and I didn't find that out until much, much later. Craig and I talked a lot more sports than we did music.
Yeah, it's a vibe.
Yeah,
I like it.
No, it's good. They got a good vibe going on. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that hour 2, I think the hour 2 intro to Light the Tower might be Steely Dan.
Really?
Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Now that I say it out loud, that might not be right. But I know Craig digs him and has seen him in concert. Steely Dan, Real McCoy, Tora, and Jerry Reed have all been a part of the show today.
By the way, Chad, shout out
Yep.
to female listener 1 on the Specs text line. Hit us up 512-337-3776. They said that Harry Styles' cleavage was on point last night.
Harry Styles' cleavage was there. I'm glad she brought it up. Harry Styles' cleavage with a little, if you like a little chest hair and some tats and a completely audacious outfit, he's got it.
The man's got it.
Trevor Noah had a great line last night about women throw their panties up on stage, then he puts them on and looks better than they do. Like that was a good line. That was a solid line. And
That's Harry.
he said it while sitting next to Harry.
Yeah.
That was well done.
Harry knows. Harry knows his audience.
Yeah, the fashion, the outfit he wore last night for the live performance was incredible, and there was some amazing looks throughout the night. That crazy headdress thing that Cardi B was wearing, I don't know how she saw out of that thing. That was wild. It looked like something you would wear in Gladiator.
Huh.
And then there was the whole dress was made out of it too. It had a very like metallic. Everything looked like little pieces of metal just all over it, and she came out and presented something. It
Yeah,
was
I
good.
saw her and her baby daddy Offset like slopping face on the red carpet. It was a little gross.
Yeah, it was
They're nasty. Like it gave me Angelina Jolie,
Billy Bob
Thornton
Okay.
vibes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not good. Those aren't good vibes. Those aren't good vibes. And speaking of vibes, I saw 2 people last night that are not musicians, and they both looked equally uncomfortable being there. Ben Affleck and Megan Fox. They both had the same look on their face, like
I get why she's there, Machine Gun Kelly. Why has Ben there?
because J-Lo was there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
She presented an award, and she was sitting right next to her. So,
That's right.
but it's weird, even being with her, or in her case, being with him, completely legitimate musicians that everybody loves. And, well, in some case, everybody loves. Maybe everybody doesn't love Machine Gun Kelly. But they both looked out of sorts. They both had this look on their face like, yeah, this is not my crowd.
Okay, well,
Get me to the Oscars or the Golden Globes. That's the look on his face.
Yeah, well, 2 things. Megan Fox was just probably worried about her man Machine Gun Kelly passing out on the floor due to drugs. And then
That's
as far as Ben Affleck, when you're probably the 8th date that J-Lo has taken to the Grammys, it's not really special anymore.
You think he's just scanning the room thinking, oh, yeah, she was with him.
She was with him. She
was
brought
with
him here.
They did
Mark Anthony.
They did an album together.
A-Rod's been to the Grammys. Mark Anthony's been to the Grammys. Diddy's been to the Grammys with her.
Yeah.
The list goes on.
That's a tough one. You got to be able to deal with that in regular life when you meet former boyfriends or former girlfriends, but when you're meeting them at the Grammys, that is different.
Yeah, and it's like she'll probably feel a certain way when she goes to what's the awards for TV and movies.
The Oscars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she'll see like Jennifer Gardner down there. That's probably a little awkward for J-Lo,
Yeah.
but it's J-Lo. She's just so good. Like she ain't sweating no Jennifer
No,
Gardner.
that's true.
Who?
He's sweating everybody at the Grammys.
Yeah, Jennifer Garner. She ain't Jenny from the Block.
Yeah, that's
Jennifer Garner couldn't play Selena.
yeah.
Come on now.
He just looked so he looked so uncomfortable last night. All right, let's get a little where are we at in society going, see what Zay has for us today. Maybe it is the Grammys. We'll see. All right, Zay, do I need to check Twitter? What's going on?
Nope, I am bringing Twitter to you and
Nice.
the people. So I saw this on Twitter this weekend. And Antonio Brown had some things to say about why he's in the state he's in, and he blamed a certain former NFL player for it.
Oh, my God.
Listen here, Chad.
All right.
Antonio Brown.
Okay.
Just him?
Oh, my God.
Just James?
I'm not trying to laugh at somebody that thinks they may have CTE, but wow. That is okay. Now, statistically speaking, James Harrison was his teammate for more of his career than he wasn't. So is he accusing him of doing it at
Practice. Yeah.
Is that what we're saying
That's
here?
that's what we're saying.
He's saying that Mike Tomlin and the coaching staff let James Harrison hit him so hard and repeatedly that he got CTE from it, and he knows that for sure.
Yeah, he knows it's that exact hit
and
from that exact player.
And they allowed it to happen. Not Vontaze Burfict.
Not Vontaze, no.
Because that's the hit we all talk about.
That is.
With Antonio Brown. Wow. I don't think I've ever heard a player go that specific. Hey, if you want to blame somebody for my CTE, I think it's that guy. It's that linebacker. Remember that guy? Played at Iowa State and he ended up with the Jags. Yeah, I think that's him.
Can't wait till
What?
Troy Aikman comes out and say, yo, I retired because of Reggie White. He just gave me one hit and I was done.
Well,
that was it.
I mean,
he does have a hit, doesn't he?
Well, I was about to say, with a guy, there are certain guys where you could have a hit and go, oh, yeah, that's probably it. Because with him, with Troy, it's LeVar Arrington.
That's it.
That's the hit where I didn't know if Troy was getting up. That was a rough one. Steve Young, Aeneas Williams is the one that hit him that night on Monday Night Football, I think, where I thought Steve Young, that's the first time I was ever watching football where I actually had this thought in my brain of, is he dead?
Oh, my God.
It's the one and really only time that I've had that thought. Obviously, this Damar Hamlin thing got that serious because of the heart issue, but I think it was Aeneas Williams that hit Steve Young. That's crazy, though. And by the way, James Harrison, of course, would be your that would be Kent State, in case you thought I was referencing him directly.
Yeah, but he's also saying James wore an illegal helmet for 20 years.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
I know. He's going to need to explain that one. What illegal helmet? What are you talking about? Now you're accusing the Pittsburgh Steelers of allowing one of their best player, defensive player for years, to wear an illegal helmet? What are you talking about? Because now that's where you're bringing in – this doesn't bring in as many questions as the Arian Foster story from the other day, but it does bring in additional questions. Most importantly, I need Antonio Brown to go get checked out. That's what we've been talking about since Vontaze Burfict and since he has turned himself into this guy or has turned into this guy. We need to take it very seriously, whether you are a complete gentleman or you're a wackadoo like him. But he needs to go into the Boston Institute. He needs to go into these different places that Jim McMahon and others have gone to. Go get it checked out, Antonio. Take it seriously. Do not flirt with anyone that helps you. Do not pass gas in the face of anyone who tries to help you, because that makes you a substandard human being.
But that's the CTE part. That's the issue.
Well, he needs to go find that out. And be serious about it. Like, he needs to go figure that out, because that's not how he needs to be behaving. So, but yeah, never heard that specific an accusation.
Why wasn't
before.
he at the Grammys? His album was fire. Put that ish on. Remember the dance he was doing? Do your dance, AB, with the finger pointing. If he would have brought that to the Grammys, you can't allow Antonio Brown being the loose cannon that he is at the Grammys. Like, that's the big reason why you didn't see Kanye there.
Are you saying that should have been the 11th Album of the Year nominee?
It should have gotten a consideration. Like, somebody in that room, when they're picking the albums, somebody should have said, yo, Antonio Brown, he had some fire in 2022.
Wow.
He might have lost his damn mind, but
crazy.
Put that ish on was a hit.
Coming up, we will get your 2 o'clock hour. We got the Mavs getting Kyrie. We'll get back into that story a little bit. Also, the Grammys were last night, and we talked about that a little bit. We do need to talk about that hip hop, the hip hop rap, I don't know, montage or mashup or whatever you want to call it. That was incredible. But also coming up at 2:30, Why Today Matters. Our man Super Bowl Stu is in Arizona, and he's going to have interviews throughout the week. week that we'll put at hornfm.com. He's going to try to set interviews up for us later in the week, but we're going to check in with Stu. They are doing media night, what do they call it? Opening night media deal tonight. They're doing that again. So we'll get some details on that too at 2:30. Remember, all throughout the week, the Horns Big Game coverage is brought to you by Texas Truck and Trailer. Keep it right here. We'll be talking about that game. We'll be talking Texas and Kansas as well. That's 8 o'clock tonight, 7:30 pregame right here on the Horn. All right. We'll see if I was paying attention here. So the beat that'll start the third hour, it's Chad and Zay, the Monday before the Super Bowl. So
This just ain't the beat. This deserves the lyrics. Walked out your girl life like like I walked out the field or something.
wow. And you already know all the words. Antonio Brown? Is this it?
Yo, I'm all about living your lyrics. And he walked off the field.
He did.
So
He did.
He be walking down women's life like he walked off the field. I love it.
Taking clothes off and everything,
Yeah, man.
too. Yeah.
Legend.
So this is the Antonio Brown beat to start this out? It's not even a beat. This is a song
That's
to
the
start
song.
the hour. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Antonio Brown.
Off
And
his terrific album.
it's called, was it Drop That?
Put that
oh,
ish
put,
on.
put that ish on. Okay.
Put that ish on.
Oh, my God. All right, there you go. Antonio Brown, who is directly accusing James Harrison of giving him CTE. Have we heard a response from James Harrison yet?
He tweeted, "Why in the hell did I get so many text messages this morning?"
Oh, right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Why did my phone blow up today?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, let's hope James Harrison doesn't have to deal with too many questions about that. There's a lot of NFL to get into today. We're obviously getting ready for the Super Bowl. Here's a couple of notes for you before we dig back into those Dallas stories. First off, if you believe in the Madden simulation, they ran the official simulation for the Super Bowl. Eagles won 31-17.
Damn.
If you believe in such things. And by that, I mean, if you believe in those things, that's good news for people like me and other Cowboys fans who want the Chiefs to win because the simulation has missed the past 2 years, I guess. We're trying to cling to something. It picked the Bengals last year. It picked the Chiefs over the Bucs the previous year. Before that, it did get Kansas City over San Francisco right, but it missed 2 before that. So there's not really any kind of serious pattern here. But there you go, just in case you need something. On the real side of things, the Chiefs have announced that running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire is eligible to play. They activated him off the injured list, and to balance that move out, they have now placed Mecole Hardman on the injured reserve with a pelvic injury. He will not play Sunday.
Wow.
So Hardman is out of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's big. I mean, you remember Juju, he went out that game, Cole Hardman, and one other receiver went out that game against Cincinnati. Gosh, I cannot think right now. Oh, Kadarius Toney.
Oh, okay.
He got hurt in that game also. So that's what makes Patrick Mahomes' performance against the Bengals in the AFC Championship game even that more spectacular, even with that bum ankle, missing 3 of your top receivers and doing what he did. Pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
But Mecole Hardman, yeah, you could do so many things with him, from those jet sweeps and, yards after catch type of guy. He'll be missed.
He definitely will. We'll see about the official injury reports at the end of the week about who else is going to play and not play. Speaking of receivers, here's a guy who's not going to play anymore. A.J. Green has decided to retire. He announces it today, says, "I've never been a man of many words, so I'll keep this short." And then he lays a quick thank you on everyone and says, "I've stayed true to the game. It owes me nothing. Be blessed. Love y'all. The next chapter begins." 34 years old. He played 11 seasons, Zay, with the Bengals and Cardinals.
Yeah, he's one of those borderline Hall of Fame guys. I mean, multiple Pro Bowls coming out of Georgia. It was him and Julio Jones.
Yeah.
Both of those guys coming out the SEC, and him and Andy Dalton, they did some really good things together. They just couldn't get over the hump when you're playing against, the Tom Brady's of the world all the time and whatnot. So dealt with injuries a little bit, but yeah, he was a terrific wide receiver. And yeah, I think you lose that love of the game a little bit playing with Kyler Murray. I'm not saying this was it,
Right.
but going to Arizona and dealing with all they had to deal with, with Cliff Kingsbury and him being gone and Kyler Murray being in and out the lineup and Kyler Murray being the way that he is off the field, that probably took a lot out of A.J. Green. And 11 years, that's a lot of time in the league, but still, I think he could have probably played a little bit more.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, 11 years. This is an interesting stat. Started his career with 5 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, but then had only 2 seasons with more than 900 after that stretch.
Yeah.
So it kind of tells you where he was. And another stat for him, since he entered the league in 2011, Zay, he is one of only 5 wide receivers to amass more than 10,000 receiving yards since 2011. You want to take a shot at the other 4?
Mike Evans.
Correct.
Julio Jones.
Correct.
Keenan Allen?
Nope.
No.
Good guess, though.
Ooh. God, I'm going to be so mad when you name these other 2. Just name them.
The first one, you don't have to go far on the roster to find him. From AJ.
From AJ. Oh, Nuke Hopkins.
There you go. DeAndre Hopkins. One other name, and he has been mentioned on the show today.
When we were talking about Pro Bowl stuff?
Nope. When we were talking about illegal helmets.
AJ Brown.
Antonio Brown is the other guy.
Antonio Brown, okay.
All the mess he's been involved in, he has amassed more than 10,000 yards since 2011 in this league. That is crazy. So AJ Green has a little over 10,514 yards and 70 career touchdowns. So congrats to him, and hopefully he has a great retirement. Also, we know Tom Brady is theoretically into his retirement now, and now they're announcing, Zay, that Tom Brady will start on Fox in the fall of 24. So he's going to go ahead and wait through this whole season.
Work on his game a little bit.
Maybe, do a little studying up on broadcasting and the game and look at it from a different perspective. Chill out with the with the kids for a year or so, try to get that part figured out, and then he'll be there in the fall of 24.
Yo, there's a picture circulating Tom with his oldest kid and his first baby mama.
Moynihan?
Yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Interesting. Wonder if they're just, good co-parents, or could there be something there?
Yo, Tom, she was with you during your butt chin era. You better take that into account.
I mean, I would be glad to hear that they could be cordial with each other. They do have a child together, so they have to hang out a little bit. But who knows? Maybe it is more than that. I do dig some Bridget Moynihan.
Moynihan wasn't knocking that child support money that was coming in.
Talk about aging well. Do you watch any of that Blue Blood show she's on with Tom Selleck?
Nuh-uh.
Dear God, both of them. Like, Tom Selleck's 500 years old right now, but he still looks amazing. And then Bridget Moynihan, I don't know the exact age. I'd have to look it up. She still looks really good.
She does look good.
Oh, she is aging really, really well. All right. And we hope all of you are aging really, really well. Last week or so, you've probably added about 20 years, or maybe taken 20 years off your life with all the stuff that's going on. We hope everybody is safe and sound out there. We hope you're getting your power back, and hope things are feeling normal. The Super Bowl coming up maybe makes it feel normal. Early on in the show, we were also referencing the stuff going on in Dallas right now, NFL-wise. Cowboys getting an OC announced, Brian Schottenheimer. Just kind of a story if McCarthy's going to call plays. Schottenheimer's the guy for the OC, whatever that means. So we did mention that story. And then, of course, the big one out of Dallas is the Mavs getting Kyrie Irving, and I am trying as a Mavs fan to figure out how excited to get on one side and how prepared to get on the other side. I mean, that's kind of it's like, Zay, if I found out that, what's the best analogy here? It's like if I had a son and I found out that my son had gotten along with, and was about to date Miley Cyrus. I think I'd be excited for him on certain counts, but then there's a part of me going, oh God, when this ends, it's going to be crazy. He's going to be on social media, and then she's going to rip him here, and there'll be a song written about him, and we're going to have to get him counseling. So that's where I am as a Mavs fan here. I think there are going to be some exciting moments. Luka and Irving in the same game at the same time. But I think there could be such a potential mess on the other end.
Yeah, and that's just the luggage that Kyrie comes with. I mean, we know his history, and it hasn't been best, especially in recent years. But on the court, he's as good as we've seen at the point guard spot in the last decade. I mean, his ball handling might be the best ball handler in NBA history. Just the ball's on the absolute rope. When it comes to finishing at his size, you look at guys like Allen Iverson, that's really maybe Tony Parker, guys like that. Those are guys that I think of when getting into the lane and just being able to twerk his way to get buckets and Euro steps and right hand finishes on the left side and just getting the right spin on the ball. It doesn't get much better than Kyrie Irving. So putting him with somebody at the caliber as Luka Doncic, it's going to be fun, but will that attribute to wins? I don't know. In the playoffs, when it becomes a half-court game, and if you just look at it like this, look where the Mavs got with Jalen Brunson last year. You got to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
So if you just switch those two, you're feeling pretty good. But it's not that easy. Like last year, nobody missed a shot. Like Dorian Finney-Smith, I don't think he missed a three last year, all the playoffs. And it seemed like Spencer Dinwiddie, he had his moments where he was dominating the playoffs. Also, those guys both gone.
Yep.
So Tim Hardaway Jr., he's going to have to step up. There's weird talks about Christian Wood maybe being on the trade block. Come Thursday, he might be traded off. He just got there. But we know him and Jason Kidd haven't seen eye to eye. He was given like an extension for the Mavs. He didn't accept it, so that's not good. I think he's going to be asking for some more money, and I don't know if Mark Cuban's going to be willing to give him that. Kyrie Irving on his side, he's going to be asking for more money too. So this is like a 3-month trial for him with the Mavs to see if it works or not. It sounds fun. It sounds good, but like you said, Chad, I love the Miley Cyrus comparison. By the way, did you ask Monkey about the Miley Cyrus song yet?
I did. Yes.
What'd you say?
She's heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's heard it. And I actually heard it inadvertently. I was going around channels trying to figure something out and was checking on 105.3 The Bat. And there was a 105.3 coming out of San Antonio because the bat signal wasn't on at that moment, and her song happened to play. So I did hear it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, she's talented.
Yeah, it's good.
Kyrie's talented.
Yeah.
But they both crazy.
Yeah, right. There's
Both
just
crazy as hell.
And specifically with Kyrie Irving, when it comes to a big decision, big moment, crazy decision, whatever, he's going to pick Kyrie over everything else.
Yeah.
He's going to pick himself over team, himself over maybe even contract at times, himself over his own, self-preservation, but he's going to pick what he thinks is best for him. So how does that all work? And how quickly can they, ramp things up? Is Luka going to be excited about this? Somebody texted us, if this trade doesn't work out, this could be the final piece to push Luka out the door. What's it like bringing this guy into your locker room? Kevin Durant could probably tell you. Those guys in Boston, as you mentioned earlier, could probably tell us what would that be like. And you're going into – now the one thing he is doing, he is taking I'm not disrespecting the Dallas media here. He has taken a little bit of a step down there in terms of crazy media.
Yes.
Because nobody tops New York. So at least he's getting a little less nutty media covering him.
Maybe not, because everybody's focused on the Knicks.
Right, but isn't everything focused on the Cowboys in Dallas?
True.
They're never going to be the
right.
number one circus, right?
Absolutely.
So now during the summertime, you may have a little stretch before the Cowboys start training camp. But you don't have to get every bit of the intense heat of all.
You're right. Yes. You didn't want to play with LeBron James, bro. That sounds insane. Like this guy might be the most unselfish superstar we've ever seen. Like he literally just passed Mark Jackson and Steve Nash in assists. Like you should see that list, Chad, of the top 5 guys in assists.
Yeah.
Mark Jackson, Steve Nash, LeBron James, Jason Kidd, and then it gets to...
And then it just falls off.
It's just like to Magic and Stockton.
Right.
All pure point guards. Pure. When you think of point guards, all 5 of those guys' names should come up. And then you're like, wow, how the hell is LeBron in there? Kyrie didn't want to play with that.
Right.
He didn't want to play with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They made it to the conference finals without you, bruh. When they played against LeBron was ripping the heart out of Celtics fans in that Game 7 where he just completely dominated in 2018. They did that without you.
That's when Kyrie got hurt, right?
Yeah, he got hurt. He wasn't playing. And Kyrie being Kyrie, like you said, he gonna be Kyrie. He wasn't even in the arena.
Yeah.
He couldn't because he didn't want to be a part of that. Oh, Kyrie Irving, Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, he didn't want to be in the same room as LeBron when LeBron won because he didn't want to look dumb there. That hurt his ego. He couldn't be there for his team. No, your ego was too hurt because you're worried about, oh, yeah, LeBron's out here winning without me, and I can't help my Boston guys, which little do they know I'm going to be gone in the year anyway.
How do you deal with him if you're Mark Cuban in terms of the media stuff? Do you tell him he doesn't have to do it? Do you make him
By the
do
way,
it?
Jewish Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is Jewish.
Somebody did point that out on the text
Yeah,
line.
mhm.
Yes, they might have to have a conversation.
Yeah.
He might not take a movie recommendation from Kyrie Irving anytime soon. But, I mean, do you force him to do it, knowing it'll be kind of uncomfortable? Do you do one big press conference and then – but I mean,
Force him to do what exactly?
in terms of the daily post-game media stuff, I mean, they kind of have to, right?
Kyrie's going to be on the best behavior. If you're a Mavs fan, at least you know that because he's looking for a contract.
Okay, so he'll be nice Kyrie
He's
for a
going to
while?
be nice Kyrie, especially these 3 months. He wants to show everybody and prove to everybody, I can make this work with Luka, especially if he requested out. Now, we don't know if he wants to even stay in Dallas. He could blow that up completely because even though you requested this, didn't mean that you wanted to go to the Mavs.
Right.
Like
So
we heard the Lakers, we heard the Clippers, we heard a little bit of the Suns. They were involved, and
yeah, we didn't mention that earlier. A 3-team deal was discussed with the Lakers. I never heard who the third team was, but something was discussed with the Lakers that didn't happen.
right. So Kyrie, I take back what I said about being on his best behavior. He could blow this up. He could say, you know what? It's not working. I'm going to take my chances and free agency this summer and see what happens.
Yeah, because he knows. Yeah. Either way, once this is all done, he becomes an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah.
Is that right? Once the season is over. So the Mavs sitting in that 6th seed right now. Brooklyn is in the, 4 seed in the East?
4
4
seed,
seed in the East. And Kyrie Irving headed to Dallas. That's going to be weird, by the way. Just one of those moments. It's not going to be at the Tom Brady level when I first saw him in the Bucs uniform. Kyrie's not quite that. But a guy that you know is so talented wearing your uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen him wear the most hated uniform for me, probably Boston. I never root for the Celtics. I got to see him wearing this other uniform, whatever, Brooklyn. But to see him wear the blue and green is going to be bizarre. Him with Dallas across his chest is going to be freaky. It's going to take me a little while to get used to with him and Luka out there. Let's see what we'll see what that looks like, and we'll take a look at their schedule coming up and see what it is. Oh, tell me there's a Dallas at Brooklyn game coming up that I haven't seen yet.
I hope so.
Oh my
I
God!
don't think so. I think
I don't.
I think they went to Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn's came down to the D. But if you look at the Western Conference, from the 3 seed, which is the Kings right now, to the 13th seed, which is the Lakers, it's about 5 games back. It's 5-game difference from the 3 seed to the 13th seed. The
Wow.
Nuggets and the Grizzlies, they're sitting at 1 and 2. They're kind of separated from everybody else. And then we know at the bottom, the Spurs and the Rockets, they're going after Victor Wembanyama, the 7'4" Frenchman that's supposed to be all world. Other than that, from 3 to 13, Kings, Clippers, Suns, Mavs, Timberwolves, Warriors, Pelicans, Jazz, Trailblazers, Thunders, Lakers, all those guys fighting for playoff position. So it's going to be a fun last few months of the NBA. I'm excited about it.
I got one for you, Zay. How about Sunday, February 26th? Mavs host the Lakers.
Okay.
LeBron in Dallas against Kyrie, theoretically.
Yeah. LeBron put out this, oh, boo-hoo tweet last night. Is it me? Like, what does that mean? Because now people are thinking, like, is it you? Like, is this the reason why? Is it me that I'm not getting guys to LA? Like, is this why Rob Pelinka and Jenny Buss just can't get guys here that I
Oh,
want?
that is it me. I thought you meant is it me, like people aren't paying attention enough to the Kareem thing.
No.
Okay. All
No.
right. Is it me why people don't want to come
Yeah,
here?
is it me? Which, like, you're LeBron James. It shouldn't be you.
No, it should be you, but in
Yeah.
the other way.
Yeah, the other way. That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah, right? You shouldn't be the problem. You should be the reason. You should be the reason they lean in.
yeah, which LeBron, he can be hard to play with.
Oh, yeah. No, you have to have a
It can be
certain.
hard, yeah, mental toughness as a teammate. Because if you do bad, they blaming you. No
Mhm.
matter what. They ain't going to blame Bron. I mean,
Yeah.
Jordan fans are going to blame Bron. But other than that,
They do that.
they're
yeah.
going to blame the teammates. Like, oh, Bron ain't have no help. And that's tough. I've seen it for 20 years. Some guys just can't do it. Ask Mo Williams. Some
Yeah.
guys just can't do it.
That's an interesting point. All right, more coming up. Kyrie in Dallas, a big story of the day. Obviously, a big story this week is the Super Bowl, and Super Bowl Stu is there covering it for us. Got the NFL alumni connection there. He's been going to the Super Bowl for years, and we live vicariously through him sometimes, like this year, getting ready for number 57. We'll check in with Stu. He's got a couple interviews he's trying to set up for us late in the week. He's going to have his interviews at hornfm.com this week, so you definitely want to check that out. We'll check in with Stu from Radio Row coming right up. Don't move. It's the Horn. This is Chad. Let's talk a little Twin Peaks. You want a place to go watch the Super Bowl? How about that lodge mentality? Maybe you get it started on Friday with the Bourbon and Brews event. Every Friday in February from 5 to 7. Experience that lingerie costume party paired with exceptional bourbons, tastings, and giveaways. You've got UFC 284 coming up on the 9th, where Alexander Volkanovski is going to go up and take on Islam Makhachev. And that's an interesting fight they've got there. That one is at Twin Peaks, and you can find out who walks away with that belt if Volkanovski goes up and gets another belt. Great place to watch UFC. Great place to watch the Super Bowl, America's favorite sport, crowning a champion. Show up early, cash out quarterly. The first 100 guests qualify for the Squares board. Plus, you claim your free queso bounce back when you watch the game at Twin Peaks. Check them out. Twin Peaks Eats, Drinks, Scenic Views, Stastny, San Marcos, and Round Rock. TwinPeaksRestaurant.com. All right, rolling through a Monday, getting ready for the Super Bowl and a whole lot of other stuff. I feel like you've played this before.
Yeah, shout out to CB. He sent me this on Twitter's 23rd anniversary of this song.
I feel like I've heard it.
There's a lot of rappers in this song. You know what this is? I'll give you a hint.
No, I don't.
Classic Houston rap group.
I mean, UGK was in my head.
Okay, there we go.
But is UGK involved here?
Yes.
Okay. So this was either, but that's not Bun B.
No.
That's who is it? Oh, damn it.
Oh, come on, man.
The other one's Bun B, and then this is no, I can't do it. My head's blank.
This stings Pimp C.
Pimp C. Dadgummit.
Oh, that hurts.
So the actual song here, what the label would be UGK or
No,
is
it's
it
3-6 Mafia featuring Project Pat and UGK.
Gotcha.
Sipping on some syrup. Scissor.
Gotcha. It's a great catchy song.
I love this song.
Oh, it's a great catchy song. 3-6 Mafia. All right. A lot of stuff going on today, including Kyrie to the Mavs, including the Longhorns getting ready for the Kansas Jayhawks tonight. That is an 8 o'clock tip, 7:30 pregame for you right here on the Horn. Also, this week, we will be getting you some big game coverage from Arizona, brought to you by Texas Truck and Trailer. Shout out to them. They got 2 locations for you, Leander on Crystal Falls Parkway and in Northeast Austin on I-35 and Runberg. That's 512-528-6038. The folks at Texas Truck and Trailer, I hear, are on my side of things with the Super Bowl this year, and they are rooting for the Chiefs to beat the Eagles. So we'll see if that happens. So shout out to Texas Truck and Trailer, one of our good partners around here. Speaking of one of our good partners, Super Bowl Stew is once again in Radio Row in Super Bowl land. Let's go to the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline and check in on the early parts of Super Bowl 57 prep. Stu, how are you, man?
Didn't 3-6 Mafia do Mark Henry's entrance music one time?
Oh, I felt like that was going to be a wrestling question.
I think they did.
Yeah, they may have.
Hello, fellas.
What
up,
man?
Stu?
Hey, real quick, we got another partner we need to get in here. Why Today Matters at 2:30. Let's give them some love, too. Sorry, Stu. There we are. Now we got everybody taken care of. All right, Stu. So this is the first. Last night watching the Grammys, they had so much fun with kind of, hey, first time where it feels normal again. First time in 2 or 3 years they felt like they could do the real show. Are you sensing at this year's Super Bowl that it's kind of the same thing, Radio Row and everything kind of getting back to normal where it was?
It is. Last year in Los Angeles, it felt like maybe a soft opening. We had a Radio Row. We had guests. This year, we got opening night tonight. It used to be called Media Day. So I'll be it's going to be at the Footprint Center where the Suns play basketball,
okay,
which is literally walking distance from where I'm at. So I'll get sound from there. We've got the media party tomorrow night. So this feels like it's back to normal, back to what we used to do. I will say it's still a little spread out, which is kind of nice. We don't have the tables butted up against each other, which is nice. By the way, our good friend Brandon Lang, he's at the table right behind me.
Very
now,
nice.
He's not there right now. He's not there right now. He was doing a couple radio hits, but he and I have been confabbing here lately. But yeah, it is Radio Row. It's Super Bowl 57. I saw lifetime Longhorn Chris Sims over the NBC Sports set. He was getting makeup.
Of course he was.
Oh.
Of course he was.
And you got the national guys like, Sirius XM and Fox Sports and CBS and all that. But you also got all of us. I got my friends from TalkSport in the UK right in front of me, so we get to talk to them a little bit. They cover the NFL. Plus, one of the guys does a little bit of pro wrestling. It's fun.
Yeah, good stuff.
Stu, what year is this for you?
This would be number 9 as far as Super Bowls go.
Wow.
Number 9.
That's what's up. Now, of all the people that you've seen over the years, has anybody just had you starstruck where, man, like I know you're one of those guys, you'll go up to anybody, but is there anybody that you had to like kind of, prep in the mirror for, or like, man, I'm talking to so-and-so, I better bring my A game because this was a hero to me or something like that?
It would be the very first year. This was 2014, so it would have been Super Bowl 47, Ravens, Niners, I think.
Yep.
That was in the Superdome in New Orleans. That week, in fact, it was funny. So we had the crew from the station coming. I had to have them circle the block because I was in the middle of talking to Emmitt Smith. So, and that was like one of my very first one-on-one interviews. So, like, I had questions lined up and all that. Now, I've seen Emmitt several times, since then, but that was kind of a, okay, this is cool moment.
Yo, that'll do it. That'll do it. Also, we've told the folks already we are hoping to talk to Earl Campbell and Tony Dorsett together on Thursday. We're crossing our fingers that one happens. And then also, Stu may try to run down Rondé Barber for us at some point during the week. And there's all kind of other interviews that could happen. When he can, Stu will fit him into the shows if they're interested. But also, check hornfm.com throughout the week, and Stu's going to be getting some interviews there and throughout the years if you've checked it out. He talks to all kinds of different people. Stu, I heard you say this morning you're going to try to catch up with Lee Steinberg again. I know you've been able to get into his media party in past years. Have you secured your way into the party, or do you still need to do that?
I have Lee Steinberg on Friday morning.
There we go.
And yes, I will be at Lee Steinberg's Super Bowl party, which is always a huge bash. He has all sorts of legends there, all sorts of great food and drink. That'll be on Saturday. I have that during the day, and then Taste of the NFL, which is also another great bash, Saturday evening. And then I'm also working on getting the Dick Getting Jaws Cigars with the Stars party on Thursday night. In fact, I'm slated to have Ron Jaworski on at, I believe it's Thursday, or is it Wednesday? Anyway, I'm supposed to have him sometime this week.
Okay.
It's, Thursday at 1 p.m. Mountain, which would be right at noon Central. So you may
Okay.
So,
now, wait a minute. I think you did that in reverse. If it's 1 p.m. Mountain, it'd be 2 o'clock our time, right?
2 o'clock. I'm sorry. Yeah.
There we go. We're an hour ahead. Okay. Yeah. You just let us know. You let us know if you can get us something set up. We're just living vicariously through you because I've barely watched. No, I have watched 9 Super Bowls, but I know I haven't been to 9 Super Bowls. So that is very, very cool. Again, Stu's going to be there throughout the week, getting stuff done on Radio Row. The Waste Management Golf Tournament is going on as well, and I know Stu, you're going to try to get over there a little bit. We just invite everybody to hit our social media at the Horn ATX on Twitter. Stu is at Stu Myrick. So there'll be all kinds of content coming out. HornFM.com. We'll try to put a page together where we just keep up with everything for you. But it should be a fun week. Stu, other than the stuff that you've already gotten to do, anything that you're looking forward to specifically this year? Anything you're kind of seeing on the horizon this week? Is it maybe that Waste Management, or what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm hoping to get out to the Waste Management Open. My housemate Joe Roderick out of St. Louis, he procured us a couple of passes, so hoping to hit that Saturday morning. Other than that, it's Super Bowl week, so there's always stuff going on. I've got a happy hour on Thursday with I think it's co-host for the Dan Patrick Show, and it's going to be at Chase Field, the home of the Diamondbacks.
Nice.
Which
is
also within walking distance.
Very cool.
So that should be fun. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. All sorts of good stuff this week leading up to Super Bowl 57.
Very cool. All right, Stu. Well, we will let you go, brother. Best of luck on grabbing interviews, getting interviews, and dealing with, organizing all those interviews. It is always a crazy time. Enjoy opening night tonight, and we will talk soon, brother.
All right, y'all take it easy.
Thanks, Stu.
Good stuff. Stu Myrick, Super Bowl Stu
Super
this
Bowl
week.
Stu.
That's right.
Where he makes his money, baby.
Getting ready for the big game this week. Also, as far as why today matters, I do need to mention it because there's some big dogs with birthdays. Today is Bob Marley's birthday.
Man.
Can't be a music snob without mentioning that. He would have been 78 years old today. Also, speaking of legends, how about Augie Garrido? Rest in peace. He would have been 84 years old today. And our man CB sent out that famous video that they captured of him yelling at the team. That's one of the best Augies ever. If you missed that one, it's so good. Yelling at the team, but essentially blaming himself for what happened in the game. But that's fantastic. So shout out to Augie and all those that love Augie. We know Longhorn fans are always going to remember Augie Garrido. As far as yesterday goes, yesterday would have been Hank Aaron's birthday. We lost Hank in 2021. My dad is a huge Hank Aaron guy, so I got to mention that. Also, another one of the great gentlemen in sports, Roger Staubach, 81 yesterday. I was raised kind of on those two guys in terms of badass athletes, but true gentlemen, and you never were going to say a bad word about Hank Aaron and Roger Staubach. They share a birthday, and I didn't realize that. Also, yesterday, Zay, was Bobby Brown's 54th birthday, and I recorded the Whitney documentary we were talking about the other day just because occasionally I will like watching it. So I'm through by and just barely into it, 5-10 minutes or whatever. But Bobby Brown made it to 54.
Made it to 54.
At one time,
That is huge for Bobby.
At one time, right, I would have told you that was not possible, but I would have had a question mark.
Oh, yeah.
So good for him.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot going against Bobby.
Yeah.
A ton going against Bobby. And he's had a lot of sad moments in his life. Losing his daughter,
Yes.
obviously losing Whitney Houston and whatnot. And if you go back and look at just his history or biopics of him with New Edition, Bobby, he's been through a lot.
Yes.
This 54 years.
Oh, yeah. A rough life for him. We hope he's doing all right at 54 years old. In another part of music, Axl Rose is 61 today for you GNR fans. And you might get Rickrolled today. Rick Astley is 57. I don't know if people do special Rickrolls on his birthday, but I'm just warning you in case somebody tries to Rickroll you. All right. Why today matters. We do it every day at 2:30. Stems and Seeds coming up. A lot of notes getting ready for the Super Bowl, some NFL notes as well, a retirement, and a couple other things. We'll reiterate those and get you ready for Texas and Kansas tonight on the hardwood. Keep it right here on the Horn. This is Chad talking sinus and snoring specialist. You just heard Craig talking about Dr. Eckert there. Dr. Eckert was on the end of my process with sinus and snoring specialist. Once they got everything taken care of to a certain point, they realized the last thing I need that could help me out and really get me to some good numbers sleeping-wise, it was a dental appliance. And then Dr. Eckert was able to help out with that. So that's the great thing about sinus and snoring specialists. That's what I love about Dr. Slaughter and everything that happened to me was they didn't just think of, okay, we're going to do this and then that's it. Then we'll just cast you out and whatever. No, they keep checking on you. I've taken those sleep tests, looking at the numbers, and then trying to figure out, okay, did we do everything we could do or are there a couple other things? And he just came to a point where he said, look, I can't cut your tongue off. That would be bad. But here's what we can do with this dental appliance, and I cannot imagine sleeping without it. So certainly a shout out to Dr. Eckert there for helping out, but a big, big shout out to Dr. Slaughter and sinus and snoring specialist for the balloon sinuplasty procedure, for getting rid of my allergies for good, and ultimately for getting rid of that moderate obstructed sleep apnea. I sleep so much better because of everything that they did. They can do the same for you. Call and set up an appointment today, 512-601-0303, or go to sinussnoringent.com. It's sinus and snoring specialists. Feel clear, rested, and healthy. Yes, just about to wrap it up on a Monday. It is Bob Marley's birthday, so Zay's going to finish off with a little Bob Marley. Always makes me feel good. Here's some Marley.
Smooth, man.
Even though the irony is some of the music is about such serious, horrible things that happened, but the vibe is always so great coming off of his music. So happy birthday to Bob Marley today. Also, 3-6 Mafia, Steely Dan, just those two are fantastic together. Real McCoy, Tora, and Jerry Reed. That means Zay might be the first person ever to play 3-6 Mafia and Jerry Reed within 2 hours of each other on the same radio station. That's probably the truth.
I gotta go look up and see if Mark Henry had an intro with 3-6 Mafia. That sounds right, because they performed at WWE one time.
Okay.
And it might have been for Mark when he was coming out.
I'll admit I know some of the entrance music and I'll recognize some of it, but I'm not into that level. I'm not into that level where I might know every artist that, like which stuff is WWE stuff, which stuff is that. But, yeah, I could see that. If Mark Henry's out there, he'll let us know.
I know 3-6 Mafia didn't do his Sexual Chocolate era.
Probably not. I think Mae Young produced that.
Mae Young.
I think Mae Young produced that part of it.
Mark was in the band with Mae Young. Vince McMahon, you're a wild boy.
It was awesome. That was an awesome time. Awesome time in the Attitude Era. And a shout out to Mark and the project he's involved in now. If you've not checked out AEW, man, they got a lot going on, and I've really enjoyed getting into watching Dynamite and Rampage and all of that. You'll see a little more of Mark Henry on Rampage on Friday nights, if I'm seeing correctly. But hope Mark is doing really well there in the creative part of AEW. All right, lots of stuff going on. Obviously, the most important thing for us right now comes up at Allen Fieldhouse at about 8 o'clock. Let's get you a little bit on that and other things going on. Stems and Seeds, here we go. Easy, Snoop. Easy. Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. Texas at Kansas tonight. Zay, earlier, you said you think they could get it done. Do you think they'll get it done?
Oh, man. It's going to be tough. The refs act different at Allen Fieldhouse.
Yeah, they do.
And
just like your mom and dad and my mom and dad act different at church.
For real.
Because that's what it is. It's kind of a church.
It is a church, man. James Naismith, the founding father of basketball. You see it on the end of the court, James Naismith Court. That's what I'm scared of most. I'm not scared of Kansas as a team. I think Texas matches up with them really well.
Yeah.
I mean, besides Jalen Wilson, I ain't scared of nobody. Grady Dick, he's been really inconsistent as of late. Juwan Harris is always inconsistent. KJ Adams, he's good, but he's a hustle player. Jalen Wilson scares me the most, but that fan base, the atmosphere, how the refs be acting, the way that they lost to Iowa State, they're going to come back with a extra sense of urgency.
Mm-hmm.
I like Texas by 2.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that fog can get you.
That fog can get you, boy.
I hope Texas gets them, though. I'd love to see that win. That would be awesome. A couple other notes from the NFL. Clyde Edwards-Helaire eligible to play off the IR, but Kansas City puts Mecole Hardman on the IR. They also said Patrick Mahomes is able to do everything in terms of practice, full practice with the ankle, that he's all right. A.J. Green retires today, and we also mentioned that Tom Brady hits Fox in 2024. He's going to sit out a season before he goes to the booth ultimately there. And if you believe in such things, the Madden simulation had Philadelphia winning big. And the last 2 years, it's been wrong. So you may want to lean that way. Zay, you and I have been saying Eagles all last week. You still with the Eagles, or are you leaning back the other way?
I'm still with the Eagles.
Yeah, I am too.
I don't like it.
I don't either. I don't either. We got a historic Super Bowl staring us in the face. First time ever that both starting quarterbacks are black quarterbacks. That is a cool story that will be talked about, obviously, throughout the week. We'll be doing that. We'll be breaking down that game. And tomorrow, we'll be taking a look at what happens with Texas and Kansas. So keep it right here. 7:30 on that pregame, 8 o'clock on the tip. Of course, up next, it's Ball Don't Lie. Rod and Harge and their early week breakdowns of the Super Bowl and much more. Be safe out there. Hey, look, the sun is shining. That's cool. Everybody stay safe, and we hope you're getting your power back. If you don't have it yet, we are thinking about you today.